Well, good evening, everybody. Let's get this all straightened away here. How we all doing tonight there? Dennis and Canoehound Adventures here. Just like to welcome everybody to our 24th live stream in this series. Things have been rather interesting of late. Everybody knows what's going on out there. I'm your host, Dennis, also known as Canoehound. I hope everybody's been safe and healthy over this last couple of weeks, especially in light of what's going on of late with all the shutdowns and things of that sort. If anybody out there is affected by this whole COVID-19 or COVID-19 thing, or if you know somebody that is, my prayers go out to them. I hope everybody is abiding by the government's guidelines wherever you are. The things that they're doing to try and keep you healthy and safe. It's there for a reason. But my whole thing tonight is hopefully to take your mind off of all this stuff going on out there in society right now. And let's spend a couple of great hours tonight. We've got a fantastic guest lined up, and we'll have some fun. So hopefully we won't even mention that word anymore tonight throughout this live stream. So yeah, let's have some fun with it. Let's see here. Yeah. Anyways, Canoehound's Outdoor Adventure Show is a show geared towards bringing you closer to the great outdoors. We bring you interesting guests, interesting topics from people that know and the people that you love to watch and follow all the time on YouTube. So that's kind of what our goal is. We're here live every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you mark that on your calendars. Hit that subscribe button and perhaps hit that bell notification so that you'll know exactly who's coming on and what we have lined up for topics and things of that sort. You can also follow us on our Facebook page at Canoehound's Outdoor Adventure Show for an up-to-date listing of exactly who's going to be on the show from week to week. And that'll be the case for next week. We're actually working on a guest for next week, and I just can't announce it yet because everything's not locked in stone. But we're just going to make sure that we can get you somebody that's a quality view for sure. If you're able to, I ask that you take a moment and try and share this live stream out to anybody in your social media feeds, or you can put it on your community tab here on YouTube so that we can maybe get this house nice and full. Like I say, we've got an interesting guest tonight. Most of you already know who it is. That's the reason why you're here. And yeah, we're going to have some fun tonight. And as you know, I love to hear feedback. So after the show, when this video is ready for replay and stuff like that, please leave me a comment. Let me know who you'd like to see on the show. You can even drop me an email at canoehound@gmail.com. And let me know who you would like to see on the show or an interesting topic. And it doesn't have to be anybody local. It could be somebody from abroad even. We like to bring on different guests from around the world. And like I say, as long as it's people that we all love to watch and follow or learn from, that's who we like to get on the show here tonight. Just a quick bit of news. Last week we had a guest on, Mark Rubino. He was on the show about the ABCs of planning a backcountry canoe trip. Mark is an Algonquin guide, and he also has a television series on the Rogers Network. It's called Mark in the Park. It will be airing its first stream tomorrow, or not stream, but first viewing tomorrow night. So basically episode 1, which is the premiere of Mark in the Park. And it can be found on the page of Matthew Hahn. I believe Matthew might even be in the chat here already. But if not, it's in the description below. You could actually find the link to that. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Get on there, check it out. I'm sure it's going to be a great series, and you don't want to miss out on the first one. So make sure you check that out. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. on Matthew Hahn's YouTube channel. Just time to shout out a few people that we have here in the chat. Just something I'd like to do. I see we got, I'm just going to go from the bottom up here on my screen. The other guy in the canoe. We got Ken Bourne. We got Ryan's All in Everything. Nate Muskoka. Ari Rosen. Alexis Outdoors. Wow, thanks for popping in there. That's awesome. Nate Muskoka, Pray for Nate Nature Show, Backcountry Paddler, In the Woods with Bigfoot. KC Happy Camper, how you doing there, Kevin? Good to see you. We have moderators Dan Mailot, Mama Bear's Backpack, Brian J, I see Christina Friani here in the chat. Rain Dance Bushcraft. Thanks for coming out there, Jess. Good to see you. And a whole multitude of other people. So if I missed you, sorry, but I could go on and on forever. And really what we want to do is we want to get into our guest tonight. So without further ado, as you know, this chat is very interactive, and I appreciate everybody's participation in here, which means I'm hoping that you have questions for tonight's guest, okay? The only thing that I ask is if you post a question in the chat that you put the word question in capital letters before your question, so it makes it easier for me to recognize the question, and then I could try and get it up on screen and have our guest answer that tonight. Bear with me, though. Tonight's going to be a bit of a crazy night. I see we already got about 73 people in the chat. I can't possibly get to them all. I'm trying to read comments. I'm trying to conduct an interview here and things like that. So bear with me. If the question is a really important question, please do put it back on. Hopefully I'll catch it the second time or the third time around. And just because I know there's going to be a lot of people in the chat tonight, I've actually got slow mode turned on. So put your comments in wisely. It's going to probably be about a 40-second delay between the time that you post one comment to the time you can post the next. That's just to slow the chat down so everybody has the opportunity to read it. So it's the first time I've ever had to use it, and tonight I'm using it, so that's awesome. Got my notes here, my Coles notes. Let's get into our guest. Tonight's guests are an Ontario couple who have a YouTube channel that deals with a multitude of outdoor activities. Bushcrafting, canoeing, hiking, and many other activities take up a vast majority of their off time. With a recent spike to her very popular YouTube channel, which has over 75,000, I believe like 75,400 subscribers, which is incredible. She's now being shouted out by the likes of Joe Robinette, the Baird Brothers, and many other popular YouTubers. She's really getting recognized here on YouTube. That's awesome. Her adventures take her out into the forest with her husband and mostly what she calls the star of the show, her dog Griz. Please welcome to the live stream, Careena and Ryan. How you doing, guys?
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. Good to see you guys. Everybody's all safe and healthy over there on your end?
Oh yeah, we're doing pretty good.
Sure.
Good stuff. Self-isolating, or you guys just staying away from the hordes?
Ryan seems to be an essential worker, so he's still working, but I mean,
well, we're all essential, right? Yeah. So, you know what? Like, Careena, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, so I've already seen this question in the chat, so I'll answer it now so we can get this out of the way. My channel is called Alexis Outdoors. Alexis is my middle name. Careena is my first name, so you don't have to call me Alexis or Careena. Like, call me whatever you want. Either works.
Babe. That's only for me. It's for no one else.
So yeah, a little bit about me. I don't know where to start or how deep to go. I'm 25 years old. I've had a YouTube channel for a few years now, as most of you guys will probably know. And yeah, it's really starting to take off. I was just able, I guess this is kind of more of a little announcement, I guess, but back in December, I was able to quit my job and go to YouTube full time. I haven't really said that on my channel, so this is kind of a special thing for everyone here. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Canoehound exclusive.
Pardon me?
A Canoehound exclusive.
Exactly.
There we go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So when did that happen? Like you say, it just happened? Was it like within the past couple of weeks or?
Back in January, I started full time. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome. It's nice, probably nice to be fulfilling a job that you probably really enjoy versus a job that's a laborious job, because you were in construction, you said, right?
Yeah. I've worked in construction for probably the last 6 years now. So it was it's kind of a big change, and I'm having to adjust to not having such a physically demanding job. But
she doesn't have to listen to me bark her around anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
So the two of you worked on job sites together?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like my wife and I, we work side by side too. So people can't understand how we haven't strangled each other, but it works.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a few interesting days at work and most people, but most people wondered how we could work together, but
well, it's not like you're like right together all the time, right? So it's like
sometimes we were.
Pardon?
Sometimes we were.
No, but it's pretty obvious. The time every time I seem to see the two of you, like you guys obviously hit it off very well. You've got a great relationship going there. So
got to.
It's not all smoke and mirrors behind the camera, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How about yourself, Ryan? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Ryan. I have a channel too. It's Ryan's All and Everything. I don't really post much on there. It's just a few videos, whatever. But yeah, I work in construction, and Careena kind of got me into the whole backcountry camping thing. I was born and raised doing car camping, just your typical provincial parks. But Kareena's like, we should really try Algonquin because her family has always done that. So okay, let's do it, and then just been hooked ever since. So.
That's all right. So you're saying Careena got you into the outdoor camping or backcountry camping?
Backcountry camping for sure. The backcountry, because my idea of camping was going to, just like that car camping provincial park type thing, like Bon Echo or whatever. It's like, yeah, this is it.
Mm.
Like, yeah, I'm like.
Whereas I kind of grew up more on the country side of things. I mean, I never really went interior backcountry camping as far as like canoe trips and stuff, but I always did a little bit more real camping at some of them than this guy.
That's pretty cool. So I've already seen a couple questions come up here in the chat, and a couple of them are like, where's your favorite place to camp or canoe?
Favorite place, Algonquin.
Yeah.
Algonquin?
Yeah, I mean, mostly because that's kind of biased because we haven't really been anywhere else. We've been to, what's it called? Fourth of Highlands.
Mm-hmm. That was really.
It was really nice, but again, Algonquin's even more remote than that, which is really nice. But yeah, we'd like to expand that. We were supposed to go to Woodland Caribou last year, but that fell through.
Oh, really? That's one of my bucket list trips too. I wouldn't mind checking that one out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's see here. What if everybody loves Griz, right?
Absolutely.
And you always say Griz is the star of the show. Where's Griz right now?
We'll go get him.
Oh, okay. I say, where was it on Instagram? I think it was the other night. You had Griz actually singing to the harmonica.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know you played harmonica.
I don't. I know how to make noise on it. That's about it. Sometimes I usually make I play guitar as well, and I make my own music for my videos typically.
There he is. Everybody, round of applause for Griz. Hey, Griz, how you doing, buddy?
But yeah, I'm not amazing or anything, but I got a harmonica just to do a few little things here and there with it, and Griz
cool.
loves it.
Now, what kind of a dog is Griz?
He is a Husky Lab mix.
Okay.
Everybody thinks he's a shepherd, but he's actually not. There was 10 in the litter, 9 males, 1 female. There he goes. And he was kind of the runt of the litter, so he's only about 45 pounds.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to think that he's a pretty big dog, but he's not.
Yeah, actually, he's only he's not really husky. He's a Malamute. He's part Malamute. I always say just husky because it's easier, and also he doesn't look like a Malamute because he's half the size. But
well, he is a good-looking dog for sure. Yeah.
I don't know if this is gonna show up, but that. Okay, that is his dad.
Okay.
His dad is like a boxer husky, and then his mom is just this little black lab.
Really?
So,
and he turned out looking the way he does.
Isn't that wild?
There was 2 in the litter that were kind of beige. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's good, and he's a smart dog too, eh?
Mm.
Yeah.
I think that's all with the do that has to do with the way you train him. Has he ever had obedience classes or anything like that?
No, I did a lot of research before I got him. I wanted to make sure and train him. I knew we were taking him on canoe trips. That's the whole reason we wanted a dog. So I did my research and I trained him every day, just very consistently. But he's got an amazing temperament. He's super smart. It was easy.
Well, I seen in the video back a little while ago there when you were out with playing pond hockey with the Baird boys and girls too, Baird girls too, and he seemed to be really into it with all the other dogs.
Oh yeah.
And there's a chance that we're gonna maybe try and get Ted's dog Bella to see if Griz will take the likeness to Bella. Maybe get some Griz puppies.
They're both not fixed, so I don't know. We might.
Yeah, it's just something we threw up. We have to do
very much up in the air, and we'll do a lot
more research. But we're both favorable of that idea.
Oh, that's cool.
Might be in time for the holidays. I'm not sure.
So when the puppies are born, you give them all little collars with your logos on it there, right?
Yeah.
You can call them a special edition pups, right?
Yeah, they'll be going in the millions, as Ted says.
Alexis Outdoors.
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm going to pop a question up here from Backcountry Paddler, who's asking, what advice can you give someone trying Crownland camping for the first time?
Oh, get ready to search and be frustrated. You never know. I mentioned this in one of my recent videos. When you look up Crownland, you see the spot on the map where it's highlighted in yellow. You know it's Crownland, but you don't know if you're going to find an access road. You don't know if you're going to show up to a swamp. I mean, you can use Google Earth to try and figure these things out too. But sometimes the image really just isn't clear, and you're just going in blind. So be prepared to maybe have to do a lot of either extra research or just do a lot of bushwhacking and stuff to get to a nice spot. But highly worth it, definitely.
Yeah, and you know what? For a first time camping out there, you just you have to get used to not seeing people, which is always a nice thing too. That's one of the reasons why I like camping on Crownland versus, say, for instance, Algonquin or any other provincial park. Is I like the remoteness. I like to get away from other people and not see anybody. There again, that has its benefits and downfalls. I know Brad Jennings could speak to that. He does all these wild and wacky backcountry canoe trips on Crownland, and you never see anybody in any of his videos. So
and Ken Bourne brought out a really good point in the chat here, saying that there is a Crownland Atlas, and then Pine Martin has a ton of videos on that. So
Pine Martin or Martin Pine. Martin's how I learned about it. Initially, I started researching Crownland a couple of years ago, and I found Martin's video, and that's how I learned to actually find Crownland and use it and stuff like that. So
yeah, and it's not really that hard to find. Any Crownland camping trip, just visit a site like MyCCR or check out like a lot of Kevin Callan's books and Hap Wilson's books and stuff like that. You'll find the places. There's a lot of great places to. But you know what? With everything that's going on right now, and you just mentioned Ken Bourne, I've been holding on to this question for a minute here too. Is with Algonquin Park closed, have you given any consideration to camping on and fishing on Crownland? I think we all have to consider that, right?
That's the only option. Right?
Yeah.
Unless we sneak in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a thing, Ryan.
Okay. No, that's not a thing. Okay, I'm sorry.
No. Definitely given consideration. I've actually just thought about contacting Brad and maybe getting either together with for a trip with them, or getting some information from him about backcountry canoe routes on Crownland, because he's the expert.
Yeah. So, just so everybody in the chat knows, there's a ton of questions coming up. I'm just going to take this little notebook that I have here, and I'm going to put it aside because I'd rather get into the questions that everybody else wants is curious about. You guys cool with that?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Like I said, I got to try and keep up with it all here. And a quick apology too. I know that there might be a little bit of buffering or echoey sounds or some unclear sounds. Keep in mind right now, everybody's internet is bogged down because of the current state of affairs out there. Everybody's on there listening to our prime ministers and our presidents and everything else. They're trying to get these messages across, and they're doing the same thing we're doing. They're live streaming, or they're talking to their loved ones and whatever on whatever. So, and all the bandwidth is getting sucked up. So that's probably the reason for any unclarity that you might see. So I apologize now if we do break away or pop back in. Just bear with us. we'll get through this, and the night's going to be a good one here. So Motosmith Garage Co. is asking, what advice do you have for someone to help their wife who is not comfortable on the water to get back to being in the canoe and camping in the backcountry? I should get my wife down here to listen to this one.
This is a great question. So I actually work with Motosmith Garage Co. here. Miles, he's a really good guy.
What's up, buddy?
And this is a really, really good question because he's kind of talked to me about this before. But from my point of view, I'm going to say that Careena is the more experienced paddler. I'll just say I've been in I've always had kind of a 12-foot aluminum boat with a motor on the back. But
let's put it this way: I was the stern paddler for the first trip.
A little while. Anyway, just starting out something easy and make sure that there's lots of safety. You know, you have everybody has their life jackets on. Don't take them out like May 1st, as soon as the ice is out. You know?
Or on a crazy trip, just start them off slow.
Yeah.
You know, a nice date in the canoe type thing.
Yeah.
Take a short ride to the shore and have like a little picnic or whatever. I think that would be a good way to
make it enjoyable, because maybe canoeing isn't her interests. So think of, if she were to take you shopping, for example, what would you want her to make or to do for you to make it more enjoyable? So you got to kind of think of that. You know, like you said, make the canoe trip maybe into a date. You know, stop off, have a picnic, make a little spread, have some wine or something.
some girly drinks.
Maybe. I don't know,
Yeah.
make it, excuse me, enjoyable and safe.
Yeah.
So
Kind of have to do a little pampering, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
sure.
It's kind of like when a kid started too. You know, you don't throw them out there and expect them to. Let's say you're getting a kid started fishing, you don't expect them to catch a big old 5-pound bass. You want to get them to catch little sunfish first. That's the most fun thing for them. So doing something that's enjoyable more than hardcore at first will kind of, they'll graduate as they go.
I'd say a good suggestion too is buy her a good bug suit.
Yes.
Right. The last thing you want, you get somebody out there that doesn't like bugs and they get eaten alive. It might be their first trip, and it'll probably be their last trip if they don't like bugs, right? So get them a nice. And don't skimp. Don't buy the cheap Canadian Tire $8 suit. Buy them the good one.
Original bug shirt.
Yeah, you want them to use that time and time again, right?
Yeah.
So let's see here. Ethan from Avid Outdoorsy guy. When are you guys coming down to the States to hang out with your favorite outdoorsy American YouTuber?
I don't know.
We're not allowed to cross borders right now, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they have an excuse, Ethan. They have an excuse.
I really wish I knew of another American outdoors YouTuber so I could say their name instead of Ethan's right now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'd love to visit that person.
Oh, yeah. Just kidding, Ethan.
Just kidding.
Yeah. So I got a question for you there, Careena. Who are your inspirations, like for all this bushcrafting and canoeing? Like who do you like to follow? Who do you like to learn from?
Very good question. So initially taking this years and years ago, I've always had, growing up, I always watched Westerns with my dad. And I loved particularly how the Native Americans used to do things. So I've always been curious about kind of primitive style ways of doing things out in the bush. And I've always loved that. But then advancing from that, Ray Mears and Les Stroud have been probably two of my biggest inspirations, just watching them, learning more. Ray Mears' Bushcraft series, I probably watched over and over again, like 3 times, the whole series. I loved it. So that, and then of course, Joe Robinette, he's a huge, obviously he is like the grandfather of bushcraft on YouTube type thing. So definitely learned a lot from his videos. I will not discredit that. I learned a lot from Joe, and I appreciate everything that I have learned from that. But yeah, collectively, probably those.
Yeah, Joe's getting to be a staple out there, obviously, in the whole bushcraft community. You know, I've been watching him like for years now, and I'll even say I've learned a lot from that guy. You know?
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of great YouTubers out there, but so like Ryan, do you do the same thing? Do you have anybody that inspires you when it comes to bushcrafting or canoeing, or is the person to your left your inspiration out there?
Sorry, hon. No, so I was in high school. I remember I was really on this man versus wild just kick. Like I would take a little like point and shoot camera that I'd have, and I'd set it up in front of my TV and record his episodes and just keep watching them on this little
Get out.
thing. But no, so me and another guy from school would always have the argument, oh, who's better, Survivor Man, Man
That's
versus
true.
Wild, whatever. And then I got more into Survivor Man and saw the kind of the realness of him. But I'd have to say those two guys are probably the first. Like when I watched Man versus Wild, I went out to Canadian Tire and bought my first like survival knife with the screw off and the pommel, whatever.
The old Bear Grylls knife?
No, it was before Bear Grylls. It was just the Chinese whatever, probably had Corona in it, but it had like matches in it and a little like survival knife with a compass. It was a horrible knife, but
Yeah.
I just thought like, yeah, I want to do this, you know. But and then yeah, just watching Joe too later on, and then Careena with the motivation, and yeah, that's pretty much it for that.
Yeah, here, I have an outdoorsy guy. He says enough about Joe. You're feeding his ego.
Yeah, that's true.
He deserves it. He got the ball rolling for all of us other
He did.
YouTubers.
I know, right? So another one of my regulars here on the show, Darren, Ride, Paddle, Repeat. Would you consider running a girls' workshop for intro into bushcraft skills since you're a role model for like-minded women?
Oh, thank you very much, Darren. Good question. I've definitely thought about it, but I never really think of myself as like a good teacher. Ryan can probably attest to that, and a lot of my friends probably say the same thing. I'm not a good teacher, but maybe I actually know a girl right now. Well, Ted Baird's wife Tori, or no, Jim's wife Tori is doing a workshop, a girls paddling workshop. So that's kind of a little bit inspirational, actually. But yeah, I'm on the fence about it.
Well, you know what? But you say you're not a good teacher, but you know what? Just by being a presence on YouTube, people are learning your skills from you by everything that you do on YouTube. So I would say you're a pretty darn good teacher.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And I especially, you know what? You got to do a video. I don't know if you have already, but you got to do a video on your beeswax wraps and things like that.
Yeah, I thought about that too. I'm thinking it'll be like if we're all actually in lockdown quarantine, I'll probably be doing a lot more of those types of videos.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would probably love to see that. And you know what? With the way things are going right now, as far as recycling and stuff like that, I want to make a few of them. And I'm like, dude, right? So it's like, hey, hon, buy me some. Get the wife to buy me some beeswax, right? So yeah, that's cool. So I want to get a little off topic there now and get into maybe a bit of the canoe tripping. I watched a video of yours, and I'll tell you, it was probably a week or so away from when I was on this particular lake that you two are up there canoeing on. It's Sawyer Lake in the middle of the summer. And you guys had something rather interesting happen to you out there. Tell everybody what happened to you guys.
Yeah, this was actually, I think it was in the fall. In the fall that we went to Sawyer Lake. So the water temperature was pretty cold, but we were on our second or third day, and it was super windy, pretty cold, and we had a pretty bad headwind. And like, if any of you know Sawyer Lake, it's a pretty small lake, and you wouldn't really expect it to have a crazy headwind, but man, the wind gusts were insane. They were stopping us in our tracks. We were in a full paddle, and they were stopping us in our tracks. So anyways, we're probably about halfway to our campsite for the night, and crossing Sawyer Lake, I'm paddling at the bow, and Ryan's at the stern, and I noticed like we're not going anywhere, and I kind of look back, and he's not even paddling, and I look back, I was like, can you like paddle? Like, there's a huge gust right now, and we're not going anywhere. He's like, yeah, I think I hear something. And so
this is my end of the story. It's like, yeah. So we just got these nice down jackets, and I had a nice hoodie on it. And like with down jackets, they're always ruffling up against your ears, especially in that wind. But for some reason, we're just paddling, and I could have sworn I heard someone yell, help. really loud, really clear. But I thought, you know what? I better just stop for a second and look around. And I thought it was two rocks way probably over here. And I just kept watching and watching for about 2 seconds, enough to have Careena turn around and be like, "What are you doing? Why are you paddling?" Yeah. And then I'm like, I thought I heard somebody yell for help. And then she kind of slows down, and sure enough, there's a yellow canoe flipped over with two little people just bobbing in the water.
And I was like, oh yeah, there is people there. Let's go.
Oh, let's go save them.
Yeah, so we motored over to them. We made it to them fast. And we got there, just two people bobbing in the lake. One had his arm through a life jacket. She had the life jacket. He didn't have a life jacket. The other life jacket was floating down the lake. Yeah,
so they weren't wearing life jackets. They had a really tippy canoe to begin with. They told us all this when we got them out. Mm-hmm. And their canoe wasn't loaded at all. They just went out from their site just to do a little tour. And the wind picked up. And we figure there was one gust.
That was the one that stopped us in our tracks.
We figure it was that gust because they said they stopped, realized it was too bad, tried to turn around, and this big gust came up.
Right as they turned, you're always supposed to go either with the waves or directly against the waves. They were sideways to the waves, and that gust came and just took them.
Yeah.
Wow. So there was two of them in the canoe. And okay, so you got there, and obviously by what I seen in the video, you proceeded to do rescue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They had other people at their campsite. They were camping as a group, I think, of 6.
Yeah.
So I think the other people at the site had heard the yell for help or seen what happened, so they were coming too. As we were coming, we got to them first, and then they showed up probably a minute right behind us.
Yeah, so we saw them coming. So a lot of people commented on this video and said you should have done canoe over canoe rescue. Well, if you're in waves that strong and wind that strong, I would love to see someone do canoe over canoe perfectly, especially someone who hasn't practiced it, which that's our fault. We definitely need to practice, and I think we'll be doing some of that this summer. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we saw them coming, and I know TA Outdoors had made a video on this. He took a course for canoeing and safety, rescues, everything, and he recorded it. And there was also a rescue in there that was if you have 2 canoes and people in both canoes, and then you have a person or 2 in the water, you hold the 2 canoes together and you can pull them out safely, and you balance your weight accordingly. So we did that. Me and the other bow paddler held the canoes together really strong. Griz was being pretty good.
Licking the people's faces.
Good Griz.
And then Ryan and the guy at the back, I think one of them was also holding the canoes together, and then the other person was helping them in. And yeah, it's pretty great.
And then obviously you got them back to shore. Now, Ryan, it was you, I believe, you gave up your life jacket, did you not?
I did. So
it's controversial.
It is controversial. Yeah. Lots of people. I just wanted to do what I thought was best, not for me. I figured I'm in the canoe, I'm dry, he's in cold water, he doesn't have a life jacket. Yes, he could have pulled me in, whatever. It's it could have gone either ways, but at that time and moment, I thought this is the best decision. So I threw him my life jacket, and then he came in, and he, as soon as he hopped in, I'm like, well, dude, you're cold. He's like, I feel warm, which probably isn't good. It's that's not good. Yeah. So I said, well, I'm giving you a job. I'm going to sit in the middle, and you're going to paddle us back, like him and Careena.
Well, we got one of their paddles. Yeah. Their paddles were
really all 3 of us were paddling, but I wasn't doing much. But I just thought, okay, this is a way that he is going to warm himself up. It felt like a long canoe paddle back to their site, just because of the adrenaline, because of what was happening. But it was probably only a 2-minute paddle.
Tops, especially with all of us going.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I commend you on that. The fact that you even gave up your life jacket like that, because I was talking to somebody, and I won't even divulge a name or anything like that, but they said, you should never ever do that. And it's like, I've been in a rescue situation one time. I won't even get into that story, but when it's spur of the moment, you do what you think you have to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of rescuers, I read a lot of stuff through Carnegie's Hero Fund Commission and stuff like that, of all these people who selflessly give themselves for the life of another.
Mhm.
And the fact that like everybody come out of it well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think everybody should put some applause in there, not to embarrass Careena and Ryan, but you know what? You guys did a fantastic thing that day, and I commend you on it. That's awesome. You should be recognized for something on that, by all means.
Thank you.
By all means.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, they can happen. It can happen to anybody, and it could be us out there someday. And I really hope that someone would stop and do the same for us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Now, have you stayed in touch with the people that had this event happen?
Yeah, so we kind of connected like Instagram handles and stuff. After all was said and done, they were by the fire in warm clothes, warming up, and yeah, we all kind of connected. And when everyone got back from Algonquin, we all found each other and just kind of connected through there. So I think they're still following along as well. And
Yeah.
We're not like, we helped. We're not the heroes either. Like it was completely 50-50. Hadn't it been for the other canoe too,
it would have,
the situation
totally
would have been a
different.
whole lot different.
Mhm.
You know, we came to them we're like the first responders, but then everybody else kind of came in and helped. So, people can be like, "Oh, you guys did such an amazing thing." We all did an amazing thing.
Just gonna let Griz out.
It wasn't just like, Griz is whining at the door. It wasn't just us. It was a real group effort to try and save some lives. And most,
Yeah, but you were the ones with the video camera going. So
yeah.
I didn't see the other people's video.
You guys want to be on YouTube? Like, is this okay? Like,
Yeah, which
course.
by the way, the camera was already rolling. We
Yeah.
didn't all we did once was like turn it in the right direction.
Yeah. I
Just
moved
so
it
you
out
know.
of the way actually because he was going to climb in that way.
Yeah.
No, either way, you know what? That day could have turned out to be a very tragic event for somebody else. And the fact that whether it was the two of you or another two people, you guys did what you had to do to get the person out of danger, and that's awesome. And this whole canoe over canoe thing doesn't really matter. You got the job done.
Mhm.
Right. You got the job done. That was cool. Awesome. I'm glad I watched that video. I had a really warm feeling inside of me because, like I said, I've had an experience in the past, similar but not similar, right? And it was something that's kind of makes you feel funny. And I never like to say the term people calling you a hero and stuff like that, because when I got that, I kind of felt weird because I didn't do it for that. I did, you know what I mean? You did what you had to do and you had to do it. That's the cool thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Anyways, let's move on here. I got a couple more questions here. Ken Bourne's asking, seeing from your videos, you're into interior camping in Algonquin. Have you ever taken a survival course? If not, you should. Have you ever taken a survival course?
Nope.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, he's called Joe Robinette.
Yeah.
The ego.
Oh, yes,
okay?
you can't beat it.
That he, you know what, he should actually be commended, Joe, as well for teaching so many bushcraft. He's been inspirational to so many, and as are you guys.
Yeah.
Careena, I think what you do for and this isn't a sexist thing or nothing like that, but what you do to encourage women and young ladies to get out there and do this type of thing. If you look at it, you are a role model for that type of thing.
Oh,
That's
thank
awesome.
you. It's kind to say. Yeah, I get a lot of very kind, encouraging messages from either women out there who are happy to have found a woman doing this kind of thing, or even no, that's too bright.
Yeah.
Right, turn up the light here. Or men who are able to bring their wives out and show them my videos and kind of get them started. Even a lot of messages about people starting out their young daughters too, showing them my videos and just kind of starting to feed that fire. And yeah, it's an incredible feeling, and I love getting those types of messages. They just solidify what I'm doing.
Yeah. So I had an opportunity to meet you guys at the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show, which was awesome to meet you guys.
Mm-hmm.
How did you handle I don't know if you get it very often, but people coming up to you and, say, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you and stuff like that. It's kind of a neat feeling, isn't it?
It was incredible. Yeah. And some people felt like I had some people like, oh, I'm so sorry to bother you. It's like, don't. Like, I love meeting people. Like, it felt so good to meet people who, appreciate all the time that we put into our videos. And, a lot of people said, oh, we love Griz. Wish he was here. It's like, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Are you allowed to bring dogs to that show? Do you know? I think I've seen one dog in there, Spitzy, right?
Yeah,
Mike Granta, yeah,
Mike Granta's dog.
His dog.
I don't know. We'd have to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the dog is like never bit anybody. Like he plays with flies. He doesn't eat them. He just plays with them,
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So we know you're into bushcrafting. We know you like canoeing. What else makes your boat float? What do you guys like to do when you're not bushcrafting or canoeing?
Think about bushcrafting. No, I have I used to be really into horses. I still have a horse. I've had a horse pretty much most of my life. So yeah, I'm really into that. Ryan's just kind of answering a comment right now.
I love I love watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Like other people, Kareena's like, what are you watching?
Those channels out there that you're just like, who watches this stuff?
Yeah, that's me.
He watches this stuff.
Really? You like the offbeaten stuff?
Yeah, like just stupid stuff. Like a guy opening hockey cards, another guy that tows vehicles for off-road recovery.
That one's kind of cool.
That one is kind of cool.
You do watch some things that are valuable to your life.
Yeah.
Some things that are just don't add value to your life.
But
right.
I just I like tinkering with stuff like old boat motors. I'll find a weed whacker on the side of the road, see if I can get it going. Then I try to resell it. I'm a very frugal person. So if I find something and I don't use it, I'm going to sell it. So
yeah, nothing wrong with that. Keeps you out of trouble, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's see here. Backcountry Paddler's asking, what's your favorite loop and or lake to paddle in Algonquin? Do you have any planned trip for 2020?
Sorry.
Favorite loop? Don't really have a favorite. We're trying not to hit the same loop twice, kind of thing. We would really like to just explore all of Algonquin, so we're trying to do something different every time.
Mm-hmm.
But the Ralph Bice, like Sawyer Lake, that loop we did, we accessed from Magnetawan. That was a gorgeous route.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely gorgeous.
The trip that we did where Careena and I actually caught fish.
Yes.
Actually, it was Careena. You go into Length Lake and like High Falls, but you skip High Falls. And
you go in Acre. It's on the from Sand Lake Gate access. You go into Acre and there's a big loop near Opalescent and all that stuff.
Yeah. And then we found like Length Lake, and it's like just full of like these amazing fish.
Yeah.
And I haven't caught hardly any trout before in my life, and I just started a few years ago, and it's like, yes, I finally like this lake just seems to be loaded. But there's either a 2K portage before it, or like a 700 meter straight uphill portage before it on the other side.
Yeah, it's nice. It's hard to get into.
It's very hard.
Which is probably why you catch fish there.
Yeah, Stratton Lake. That's right. Yeah.
Say the harder the portage, the bigger the fish, right?
Yeah,
right.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think I heard that actually from Kevin Callan. He mentioned that one day, or one of his videos.
Yeah, if it was easy to access, there'd be no fish in it.
Exactly.
I think that's the gist of that.
Yeah, well said.
Okay, so if there's a miracle that happens here within the next month, what do you guys got planned for 2020? What's on the horizon for canoe trips?
We want to do hopefully an ice out fishing trip. If that can't happen in Algonquin, I would like to probably go further north and find some. Again, I'll talk to Explore the Backcountry, Brad Jennings. Probably talk to him and see about a Crown Lake route. So I think either way, we'll be doing a spring trip, hopefully.
I should send you the maps for the trip I did up by Brad there last year, up around Uncle Gamma.
Oh, yeah.
The fishing was fantastic in the summertime.
Nice.
I can imagine at ice out, it'd probably be crazy, crazy good.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, we'll definitely talk.
Yeah, for sure. So now you, of late, you guys have had a couple of collab videos you guys have done.
Mm-hmm.
You did recently one with the Baird brothers and Tori, and I think Nate Muskoka was there and his wife as well.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. How did that come about? Who orchestrated that?
Okay, so I made a video back in December, and I was like, it'd be really cool. And I said this in my video. I said it'd be really, really cool to get a bunch of like Canadian YouTubers together and do a typical Canadian weekend, going, playing ice or pond hockey. And turns out Ted watched that video and then messaged me. He's like, just so you know, I have access to this. But it was totally out of the blue, and I was like, is this a coincidence, or did you just watch my video? He's like, yeah, I just saw your video. So definitely, Ted's the one who fully orchestrated everything, but I was the one who was like, we should do this, and yeah.
We asked Doug Linker to go, but he, like, right before he posted the video about how he's all banged up, especially with his elbow
and his knee. Yeah.
And then some other people that
we tried to get a much bigger group than who showed up.
Sean James considered coming, but he was too busy at the cabin.
Yeah.
It was like right in the middle of his move and everything. So
yeah,
he would have liked to come, but he couldn't make it. Sorry.
Yeah, he's a very smart fellow. I guess from the video I watched of his yesterday, there he was kind of planning on all this stuff that's going on, and he wanted to make sure his family was well provided for and stuff like that. So I think he had his priorities set straight, where he was making sure everything was good. And,
yeah, I've always told Ryan, if there was two guys in this world that you could sit down and learn something from a conversation with, it's Sean James and Doug Linker, I'd say.
Yeah.
Two very smart guys.
Actually, I met Doug last year at the Toronto Outdoor Show, and very cool guy. He's a very humble fella. He's super humble.
Yeah, just very real.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So you guys went up just for 2 nights to the whole pond hockey thing? Was that just like a weekend type of deal?
Yeah, we couldn't swing more than 2 nights, but it was nice. It was a mission to get in there. I went through a whole range of emotions on the way out there, from like, okay, just one foot in front of the other, to like, I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah. Well, I must say, you skated circles around your husband. Oh, just threw Ryan right under the bus.
He can stick handle better. I could skate better.
I got it. She tried to throw the hip into you there that one time and knock you into the snow.
That's the thing. Like, if I hit her, I'd probably be in jail right now. Somebody will be in the comments and be like, I'm gonna arrest you right now.
Yeah, that's why I take advantage of it.
But then if it she hit me, it's like, yeah, woman power, stick it to the man,
Yeah. So when we get into overtime tonight, I invited a few of your other friends here, like YouTube friends here, on the stream they'll join us around 8:00 after we do the swag giveaway. Brad and Leah from Explore to Backcountry are going to join us, and I believe John and Aaron from Backcountry Angling Ontario will be joining us. I see Brad in the basement right now, so he's getting all set up.
Nice.
Yeah, that's there's Leah too. I see her head poking in the corner. How you doing? Good to see you. So you guys had maybe we'll talk about that collab that you guys had when they come on the screen, because I watched that I think twice. You guys look like you had a fantastic time. Was that the first time you all sort of met?
Yeah.
And it was epic.
John's a lot taller than he looks on camera.
The first thing I said to John was, "Wow, you're a giant."
Yeah. I kind of gathered that from him, that he's a pretty tall individual.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that. We'll get into that conversation when they come on, because I think that'd be a funny. For anybody in the chat that has been following Careena here with Alexis Outdoors, you'll have seen that was beginning of the winter, was it not?
Yeah, end of December, I think.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was a week before the holidays.
Yeah,
I do believe.
Yes.
So, I don't know if I've asked this question already, Ryan.
Yeah.
Tell us about Careena.
Oh,
do we have time?
Yeah, tell us about Careena. Tell us about Careena. What Careena, tell us about Careena. Don't get personal. We don't want to get personal, but no.
I'll say it in 3 words. She's French, Portuguese. That's all I need to say.
That was a bit of a culture shock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My mom's like full-blood British, and my dad is very Canadian.
Two of the quietest, calmest people on the
Yeah, they're
planet.
very calm,
Yeah.
very quiet.
Handle things in a very civil manner.
When we were dating, I went over to Kareena's house, and like Kareena's mom's full Portuguese.
Full.
And I'm just like, why is she yelling at your stepdad? And she's like, she's not. She's just talking.
She's not yelling.
Like, oh my goodness.
She's happy.
So, but like we balance each other perfectly.
Yeah,
because
we really do.
I'm like, Kareena's like ready and fired up and just ready to do whatever, you know. And I'm just like, honey, let's sit back and let's just think about this for a minute.
About this.
But then she'll kind of motivate me to speak up when I should.
Yeah,
and I may motivate her to not say anything.
To chill out.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
Yeah, we are a good balance.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. That's what you need to make a relationship work, right? So, is it too personal to ask how long you two been married?
No. We've been married for 6.5 years, which Ryan can't even remember right now.
Yeah.
It's okay. He doesn't even
Cool
know.
guy. He's right in there with me.
He doesn't even know his own age. Okay.
Yeah. How old am I? Yeah, 28.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So
No, you're 27.
Am I?
No, you just turned 28.
Yeah,
See, I don't
okay,
even know.
28. It's just a day. Except for the anniversary.
Still a couple of young pups. Holy cow, you're making me feel old here.
Yeah.
Not the whiskers that make me feel old. It's yeah.
Wow.
The youngins like you, right? Oh, that's cool. That's the future of the outdoors. What, Careena? What can you tell us about Ryan then? I know you've already told us a few things. Oh, he's not sure.
Say all the good things. I know you're very ticklish. Say the good things.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Ryan is extremely level-headed.
Okay.
I when we first got together, I think our first year of marriage was very much figuring out how to balance each other out. And once we figured that out, it was just like bliss from there because like I was the French, Portuguese wild side and Ryan pretty much touched on all of this, but he was the more like calm, laid back, sometimes a little lazy.
Yeah.
But we really balanced each other out in that sense. And he's just really, really stable, a very stable person. And that's kind of what I needed in my life at the time. And definitely.
Cool. So we'll get away from all this personal stuff. We don't want to make people blush or anything like that, right? A few weeks back, I just got turned on to the podcast Under the Yoke.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And you guys were guests on Under the Yoke, and a lot of people in the stream here may not have ever heard of it or maybe do not follow that podcast. But the one interesting question that I heard them ask you was about the trip planning. Who comes up with the ideas of the trip planning? I know what the answer was because I listened. Who comes up with the ideas of trip planning? Makes kind of the decision like, I want to go here, I want to do this.
That would be me. Going back to how Ryan is very laid back, he just kind of says, you just figure out where you want to go and then just let me know and we'll do it.
Okay, as long as there's fish there to look at and not catch. I can't
catch.
I can't catch anything apparently. I need some tips from Jonathan Mullen, but anyway, and John from BAO.
Yeah.
But basically now that we make videos on it, and in a sense it's a business too. I don't
side of things.
Yeah, I don't want to mess up Kareena's. I'm happy to go wherever.
Yeah.
But
he's just really easygoing, and I'm just the one who's always like, okay, we need to start planning this trip, and he'll be like, okay.
I don't want the responsibility of planning a horrible trip.
It's all on her, right? It's all on her.
Well, that was a horrible trip, but whatever.
But I'm the one who planned it, so who cares?
We did it.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think there's a such thing as a horrible trip, though.
No. Every trip, good, bad, whatever, it teaches you something, and I think that's the takeaway from everything. And what keeps you going back too, because if you have a rough trip, you think, okay, the next trip's going to be easier, hopefully.
Okay, here's an interesting question. Cabin Dweller's asking, do you plan out or outline your videos before you make them? If so, how much?
Stacy, hello.
We appreciate all your comments, by the way.
Yes,
Captain
this
Dweller.
girl is super supportive on my channel, comments on every video, and I really, really appreciate it.
And she like
Huge
bashes
shout
the
out.
haters.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that. She stands up for us creators who are just trying to be out there having fun. Anyways, back to the question. No, I don't really plan my videos. I kind of just, I'm a little bit of a procrastinator. So when I think, okay, I want to make a video tomorrow, I'll be like, okay, I'll start packing. I'll start throwing some things together, like kind of getting an idea. Okay, maybe I should pick up a steak. Maybe I'll cook a steak over the fire. So I'll kind of like think about these a little bit. But as far as actually planning out the video, no, I just totally let it happen the way. Basically, I try to make it real enough that like the trip is first and the video is second. But I do try to get those good shots that will make the video better. But like typically I'll just be like doing what I would do if I wasn't videotaping and then just add the video to it kind of thing.
So it's not like you go out there and you go, okay, I gotta get this shot here now and I gotta get that one, right? Yeah.
No. And that comes with practice too. Like at first I used to think like, how does Joe do this? Or like, how do people, YouTubers do this? Like plan out their videos or what? But yeah, it just comes with time. And
how long does it typically take you to edit a video? Are you like an essential shooter that you shoot only what you need to, or are you pretty good that way?
I wish I was better that way. Actually, on that trip with with Backcountry Angling Ontario, John and Aaron, and Explore the Backcountry, I saw how they were shooting, and they were like very much intentional with their shots, and I was like, wow, I would save a lot of battery and memory space if I was more like that. But yeah, I'll just kind of let the camera roll a bit, which is probably why there's so many cuts in my videos. But yeah. Hey, buddy.
There he is, everybody. Standing applause for Griz. He's back in the show. That's awesome. I always find that too when I'm out there, you know, trying to set up the shot, and then, you know, so I'm horrible at doing a shot because I'm always tripping over my tongue. So 2 or 3 takes, and it's like, screw it. It's going to stay the way it is, right?
Yeah, you'll see every single one of my intros and outros. There's so many cuts because I just and ah the whole time. It's really frustrating, but that's just me. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
I'm that guy too. I'm always humming and hawing, and yeah, I don't know. Bad speech patterns, I guess. I see it, and I can imagine everybody else does. So.
Oh yeah.
Here's a cool little comment from Martin. It says, my wife invariably decides where we're going and what route will be. Yep.
Yeah.
Let her take charge. That's okay, Martin. That's all right. Let's see here. Well, we're getting pretty close to the 8 o'clock hour, which is the time that I like to do my swag giveaway. But before I do that, let's see here. Tina's asking, how's the tick situation with Griz and how do you protect them?
Ticks are my worst enemy. A lot of people ask me, oh, do you care about bears and coyotes and this and that? Yes, but ticks are my biggest fear out there. Griz is vaccinated for Lyme's. I don't yet have him on like those pills or whatever, frontline stuff like that. I need to do more research because I feel I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence of which one to choose. So once I do more research, I'll probably pick one of those. But for now, I just really comb through him after we come in. It hasn't been too bad lately because I'm still going where there's snow, and the snow just I never find a tick on him when there's snow on the ground. But yeah, that's a challenge for the spring.
We've already pulled 2 off of him this year.
2 this year, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. You want to take a question from the producer of Mark in the Park?
Sure.
Yeah.
This is Matthew Hahn.
Okay. I was pointing at that question. I'm like, I want to answer that one.
There you go. Okay. In terms of technology, what do you use for cameras, to audio, to editing, and software? What gear has failed and what has worked? Have you lost anything?
Okay. Wow, that's a lot. So I use the Canon M50. I used to use a Canon Rebel T6i. I found it really bulky. I know like almost every YouTuber has a bulky camera. But I couldn't do it anymore on canoe trips and stuff when it was raining. I just wanted to be able to shove my camera in my bag and just GoPro it for the portages and stuff. So I opted for a mirrorless camera. Like, it's so small. and it's not an amazing camera by any means, but ever since I've been using it, I've been getting a lot of compliments on the image quality. I also use a different lens. I use a 22 mil prime lens, which gives you that really nice like background blur. It's got a, yeah, and I also have a UV filter on there, or an ND filter, and I use the Rode Video Micro.
You can tell. So Careena just pointed this out.
Yeah,
the front things on the dead cat here,
they're all singed.
it's all singed from
Too close to the fire.
because the back is nice and fluffy, but the front is very like curly and
Yeah. So, and for those who don't know, this is called a dead cat, and it's just to filter out the wind so you don't get that in every video when it's windy. But
Yeah, that improved my videos 100% when I got my, my external mic like that.
yeah, it can really ruin a video.
Yeah.
Wind.
and
But
we have
you need a zoom lens on that if you're getting that close to the fire. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
yeah
Have
we
you,
have-
have you ever, Matt was also asking, have you ever lost anything? Have you ever had like a catastrophic failure or one of, Griz knock over the camera? One of them things.
No,
He's knocked it over a few times, but luckily it's always been like on the backside. But
we left a tripod at one lake once. We're pretty sure we left it at the canoe launch because it disappeared.
yeah, that disappeared.
We have a GoPro 7 Hero and a GoPro 8 Hero, like the blacks.
Yeah.
We just picked them up, and they're really good. But catastrophic failures? No. Careena and I shot a video last spring around this time, and we realized that the mic was like half plugged into the camera, and there was no audio, so that whole video was scrapped.
Yes, had to scrap that. Also, there was one time on a trip, it was pretty early on in the trip anyway, but I went to go look at my GoPro and like turn it on, and it said like the card failed or whatever. Anyway, I ended up having to wipe it. Thank goodness it was early on in the trip, and then it hasn't given me a problem since. But
Hate it when that happens.
Format your SD cards like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than getting out there and that sick feeling knowing you've shot a good video and you go back and your card has failed or something, right? And
Yeah.
Geez. Yeah. Always carry the backups, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll do 2 more quick questions before we get into the swag giveaway, and then we'll get Aaron and John and Leah and Brad up here. Let's see here. Melanie Rogers. Has there ever been a time where you've been put in a situation where you were unprepared?
Not really.
Aside from rescuing those people, we had no training,
As
no
far
idea.
as knowledge goes, we were a little bit unprepared in that situation. But for the most part, actually, this is a great question because a lot of people are like, oh, you need to bring dryer lint and you need to bring cotton balls soaked in Vaseline, and you should always be prepared. It's like, no, go out there and practice with natural materials while you're not in that situation, because you're not always going to be able to bring out dryer lint and all kinds of fire starter and stuff. So, man, that bugs me so much.
Yeah, that's one more thing to carry an added weight, in your fire kit. Right?
Yeah. I'm totally about going out and practicing with as little as you possibly can, because if you're ever in that situation, you're not going to have your backup plans. Like,
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and one more quickie here, and then we get to the swag giveaway. Adventures with Josie. Who would you like to go on an adventure with in the future? Next collab?
Can we answer that with Ethan in the chat? Because he's just going to read us.
Ethan, for years, I get so many messages, probably once or twice a day, that people want to see a Joe collaboration with especially with the dogs, with Tripper and Griz. So I think that'd be cool. That'd
be 2 dogs running wild, eh?
Yeah, would also like to get together again with John and Aaron and Brad and Leah. We all just got along so well.
Well, you know what? I might be able to set that up tonight.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so with that being said, everybody, great chat so far tonight. I really appreciate everybody's participation here in the chat. It's going really good. We're getting some great questions for Careena and Ryan for sure. This is the part of the show where I like to give away stuff. It's small stuff, but I still enjoy doing it. We're going to give away 3 Canoehound Adventure decal packs. These things go great on your water bottles. They go good on the bumper of your car. And I even had somebody stick one through her mother's forehead Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Mama Bear's backpack. Yeah, yeah. And there you go. Yeah, Karina's got one on her bottle. Very classy looking bottle.
You do.
So what we're gonna do, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my email address up on the screen so that the winners know and they could send me. Oh, what do we got?
We're gonna throw some in too.
Okay, perfect. So we got some Alexis Outdoors decals. Sweet in the pot. Thank you very much. What we'll do then is when they send me their addresses, I'll forward them on to you, and you can send that out to them. To that, classy looking. Classy. Okay, so my question tonight: the first 3 people to tell me how many subscribers Careena has right now to the 100th.
Well, let's see.
Let's see how many people can nail this. First 3 people.
Dang, what do you got?
Susan, I'll get you one. Oh, also, while people are doing this, quickly want to mention that trip with Joe. Ethan said he's in, so apparently we're doing this with Joe and Ethan.
All righty. Well, I think we got our winners here, so you guys can stop punching in. I'll call what I got here on my screen. We got Darren at Ride Paddle Repeat at 75,400. We have Darren Davidson Outdoors at 75,400, and we have Martin Pine at 75,400. Wow. So if you guys want to send me your full mailing address to canoehound@gmail.com, I'll get out my Canoehound Outdoor Adventure Show decals, and I'll forward that over to Careena and Ryan, and they could send you them in their own little envelope.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. You were all paying attention, or you guys are really quick clicking back to so. Which, by the way, all of her information for her website. She's got a great website. She's got her YouTube. She's got Facebook, and I believe Instagram. They're all linked in the description below. So be sure you check them out and make sure you follow her exploits out there in the bush. That's all good stuff. Keep that stuff coming. I really enjoy it. Yeah. So this is the part of the show where we get into what I like to call overtime. It's just going to be a generalized chat. We're all going to be. Oh, should I do that?
I'm deep in text with someone right now. I'm just like,
and so I'm going to invite some additional people that Careena and Ryan are very familiar with. We'll start over here with from Backcountry Angling. We have Aaron and John. How you doing, guys?
Great, and you?
Good. You can hear us okay? Everything's good?
Yeah, all great, thanks.
Super. How's the weather up your end of the woods?
Well, we got a few feet of snow and a few feet of ice still. Probably good.
That's good. I see you still. I made a comment on your social distancing yesterday. I think on Instagram.
That's place to do it.
Awesome. And the next two I'd like to bring in. This fellow was a guest on the show a couple of weeks back. Brad Jennings and Leah. How you doing?
Not too bad. How about you?
So is this like a sort of a family reunion of sorts?
It's a reunion!
Yeah, cheers to that.
Let's get the hot tent out.
Yeah. It's getting a little warm for that now.
Yeah.
Wow. So, John, Aaron, you guys just got back from a bit of an outdoor backcountry excursion, or?
Yeah, I think the one that you commented on, Dennis, we were trying a Quincy again.
Okay.
I did it last year, and it was fantastic. Didn't work out. It actually collapsed on me.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so this is why it's a two-person activity.
Yeah.
Aaron didn't have to dig me out, thankfully.
So you didn't die, right?
Sorry?
You didn't die?
No.
That's good.
Yeah.
He had Aaron there, grab him by the ankles and drag him out, right?
Yeah, that's what we were prepared to do.
Yeah.
We had the plan in place, but snow weighs a lot too, so I wasn't sure how that would feel, but I busted through.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. Now, you did that right up your neck of the woods?
Yeah, north of Terrace Bay, but probably no one really knows where that is. But anyway, so the Quincy collapsed, and we didn't have time to build another because you have to let it sinter for a couple of hours, right? So we just slept under the stars. It was -18. which is not crazy cold, but when you have no shelter, it's pretty cold.
It's chilly night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Now you two live a little distance apart, eh? You got a little traveling to do.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Aaron made the leap. I bought a house last summer, and then Aaron made the leap to move here to Marathon. So.
Oh, cool! Congratulations on the house. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
We were 3 hours apart. I was up in Geraldton, so
Mhm.
we did that for a while. But
Yep.
After flipping one truck and the winter of driving, we decided to cut that out. And
I watched that video and you scared the crap out of me, man. I can imagine what you went through, but that scared the crap out of me. That was
Yeah,
Not
those
good.
northern roads get dangerous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
yeah, absolutely. They're unpredictable. So we're happy to only have to be on them when we're adventuring.
And together with a personal locator beacon too.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, really. And Brad and Lee, how you guys doing these days? What's going on?
We're doing well. We're locked under isolation here.
And everybody's all healthy and happy, not being affected by this. Well,
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're getting out away from whomever when we can. It's pretty nice up here because you can walk 5 minutes out your door and you're in the woods. So that's the only perk
Quiet.
up here at times.
yeah.
It's good. Stuff's warming up. Today really felt like the first day of spring out there, to be honest. It was like +7 degrees. Really, really nice. So yeah.
It's all right. Get rid of that white stuff, eh? So we could maybe one day soon hit the soft water, right?
There's like 3.5 feet of that to melt still. So
Hey, you know what? We've had no, like I live down in Niagara and we've had no snow down here for a month now. It's all been gone.
I hear there are daffodils.
Yeah. We got daffodils and Easter lilies are pushing their way up through the garden already down here. So
Wow.
yeah, you guys will be a little while before you see that.
However, we also have ticks.
Yeah. The ticks will be. I'm afraid to go to my day camp now. It's that time of year where, what is it? They say anything over 4 degrees Celsius, they'll start becoming active
We have ticks in the 401.
on the 401.
Yeah. We have ticks in the 401. That's what we get to enjoy where we are.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Oh, ticks and the 401.
Yeah, sorry.
double whammy.
I didn't hear that.
So I want to know more about your collab video that the 6 of you did together. Who orchestrated that first off?
John.
That was
Yeah.
all you're doing?
Well,
Yeah, I had been talking to both of them for a while about doing that, and just came to fruition. We were heading south down to Toronto, where my family lives, so we could kind of meet more easily halfway. So we went a little north of Sudbury, and it was a time that worked out for everyone, so it's perfect.
yeah, it was a good location too. Like we were trying to figure out where is a good central spot. And I had been to that area with a buddy of mine like 2 years prior. I figured the thing with winter times, you don't know where like there's going to be decent parking. Knowing that this was a massively plowed out lot, and the fact that there wasn't anglers in there, because later in the year when trout opens up, like that lake gets super busy. But thankfully for us, it's not trout season, so we pretty much had the entire thing to ourselves. So it was great.
It was epic.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like I just want to thank both of you guys, Bradley and John and Aaron. That was an awesome trip.
Yeah.
We'll never forget it.
Yeah, it was definitely.
We could have never orchestrated something like that. That was our first time past Huntsville, really.
Yeah, and our first time hot tenting.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And for that matter, probably our first time like actually trekking in the winter on a long-ish distance trek.
Yeah, and wondering what the heck we're doing on that first uphill.
Yeah.
Aaron was struggling. there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was feeling grumpy with my heavy sleigh and
You Aaron, you had a mishap there. You got in a fight with a saw and kind of lost.
yeah, big time.
Yeah. I hear like, a couple stitches.
Yeah, I ended up with 3 stitches, mostly just because it was on the knuckle. So it's all healed up now. I've got a nice little scar, but
It's okay.
Yeah.
Guys dig scars, right, John? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
War wounds.
Usually it's the other way around. Eh?
Thanks to Brad for the great first aid work there.
yeah,
You didn't have your steri strips, like they weren't sticking.
Yeah.
You pulled them out and like they just weren't sticking.
Mhm.
So we abandoned that, but you did a great job. Thanks, man.
we
My
got
skills
some
are lacking.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you guys weren't there, I probably would have done it myself because John's a bit squeamish, so I think I would have been on. Managed, but
Yeah.
that's not his specialty. But it was a
That's
good.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
if
Part about
anybody
that.
wants to see that video there, it's a good video to watch because it's pretty neat seeing your perspectives, all the same adventure, but from 3 different perspectives.
And something.
At one point.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, John.
No, I was gonna say all at once at one point when we all did our shooting thing at each other.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do that forever because there's so many YouTube campers, and I just thought it'd be funny.
Yeah, that was awesome. A lot of people in the comments like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, another part about the first aid part. So this is in none of the videos.
Oh yeah.
But as I'm standing there with a flashlight, I had a flashlight on Erin's finger, and then I was holding a water bottle for Erin in case, she was feeling a little thirsty. And the whole time I'm standing here with a flashlight and a water bottle. And Brad finally looks up and he's like, "Oh, I thought you were just filming the whole time."
He thought she was hovering over with the camera.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Great. Wait, let's do this.
Oh, geez. No, that's cool. So anybody, like I say, that wants to check these out, you can go to any one of their channels and you can see it's really neat, like I say, to watch it, the perspective, because it's cool. In the background, you can see, like, say in John's video, you can see, Brad and Leah back there and they're shooting a shot, or, you know what I mean? It's that cool perspective. That's the one thing I really like about these collab videos is the perspective from each other's cameras.
Different filming styles too.
You might have to wait a while till I get mine up, but
Yeah.
We knew that, Brad. That's okay.
Was that it? Oh no.
You learn a lot about
editor.
other people's filming techniques too. Like Careena, I know you mentioned that earlier, but I just bought your tripod today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Isn't it nice to not have to you can change your camera without taking the thing off?
Yes. Yes, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a lifesaver, especially in the winter.
What kind of a tripod is that?
It's a little Manfrotto action tripod. I don't have it in close proximity, but this is the plate for it. So I'll put this in here. Ugh. After one beer, I can't do this. So the plate sits like that, and you can still access the battery without unscrewing the plate, which if anyone films, that's hard to find.
Yeah. I might have to check that out myself because I hate unscrewing that thing on the bottom every single time. Oh, wow. So, Erin, I've said this, and I've mentioned this to a lot of people about you. You are a trooper out there.
Oh, thank you.
It seems like nothing phases you out there when you're, walking waist deep almost, or we'll say thigh deep in ice water, lugging a canoe through, and it's You're doing stuff I probably wouldn't even consider doing myself, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty headstrong. It's not even headstrong. I can be determined.
Yeah.
I don't know when we're out there. I love the trips. I love the adventures, and John's a lot more planned and calculated. Where I'm like, let's just go. So we balance each other out well. Where the scouting is important and that type of stuff.
When I grow up,
I plow through a lot of stuff that's unnecessary, probably because I can't be bothered to look. But it's just I don't know. It's fun.
What do you say, Careena?
I said I want to be like you when I grow up, Erin.
Hey, Leah's been through hell too.
Yeah.
Leah's been through some awful stuff. I've asked Brad and Leah on their videos before if they had fun on the trip.
Yeah.
Some of them looked awful. Like your what was it, Nagagami?
Yeah.
That was pretty awful.
But it was type 2 fun. So in the moment you just are like, why am I doing this? And then the second you get to camp and you have your drink and your food, you're like, this was the best day ever.
Exactly. It makes those simple things so much more beautiful, and you're just over the moon with the simplest things because you went from that low to such a high.
Mm-hmm.
And I still rewatch that video because I'm just like, that was the best trip ever.
yeah, but during during 3 hours of bushwhacking through it's called Dirty Bush too. I mean that whole trip was just it's standard pretty much. We get garbo portages like that where we just bushwhack and draw a line A to B and try to get around it. Well, you're used to that sort of stuff too. But like you get into that and it's 3 hours and like I look over at Leah and I'm like, is she gonna kill me yet? Is she gonna kill me yet? And, no.
Yeah.
No, it takes a lot to piss me off.
I just watched one of your videos the other day, Bradley. It was the one you shot just after you had your knee surgery.
Oh, the Killarney
yeah.
one? Yeah.
And where you got dropped off by shuttle and then come back. And Leah, you look like you were pooping your pants there in that one scene there when you guys are paddling the big waves and stuff like that. And it's like
I sound like I'm giving birth because Brad is making. He put the audio in, and I was trying to just like use my voice to like express how I was like feeling, and I had no idea he was filming.
You get the GoPro effect too. Like that's at 270 degrees, so the waves are actually like 3 to 4 feet. So I mean, it is heart pounding at times.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
But
Christine
now,
is
like after that, every other waves don't feel that big.
right.
It's a warm up for the next bigger trip, which is then a warm up for the next bigger trip, and it compounds like that, right?
That's the beauty.
Yeah, because the one point there, I remember you saying, "Oh, we got 3 big rollers coming at us."
Well, that's it.
It's kind of, huh? Oh no!
And they always come in threes. They call them the 3 sisters. You get the first one's kind of gentle, the second one, it's beefy, and the third one's like the mean evil sister, and she'll swat you if you're not careful, sort of thing.
Yeah,
and you got to watch it because sometimes there's a 4th one, and that's the rogue wave, and you're not expecting that one. So that's your big water paddling. You get it in the ocean, you get it on the lakes too, and it just comes from the wind.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So have the 6 of you been discussing anything about maybe a summer canoe trip? If we're going to assume that we're going to be able to get out there and paddle this summer, no problems, right? Okay, we'll give it till like end of April. So end of April, you guys have you discussed any possible canoe trips together or another collab?
We had a preliminary like just chat of being like, yo, it'd be sweet to get on a paddle. And I know like these 4 here, we're all chatting. We're like, yeah, maybe some whitewater and stuff too. Cause was one thing I think Careena and Ryan were talking about growing in and doing more whitewater, and even John and Aaron who do more as well, but trying to get into some of the bigger stuff. And of course, we're always trying to improve our skills, and it's always safer in groups and whatnot too. But I think it'd be pretty fun to get out on a trip where we get some decent whitewater incorporated as well. So
yeah, I think a nice preliminary like learning trip for Ryan and I, and then you guys can do the bigger ones and we'll portage around those ones. I think that'd be really fun.
You guys are doing great.
Yeah, we'll be your rescuers.
but that's the beauty of a whitewater trip too. Like when you have those optional portages and you can camp beside it and run them multiple times, and then you flip. You have your safety crew set up, and then you can slowly learn and say, well, what did I do wrong there? Oh, we didn't brace there. Or, oh, we didn't, just a billion different things can happen. And you'll learn from that too, right? So.
Let's do it.
Or you can just like take turns riding down the rapids with someone that's more like you feel more confident with.
Right.
You can learn that way.
That's a good idea.
Heck, you guys might have to talk to Jim Barrett again there maybe and do the Magneto one. That'd be a nice little whitewater trip for the 6 of you. Well, 80 of you.
Jim and I have been talking about a few trips too, but we don't know what's going to happen now with this COVID situation. So we had some tentative stuff planned in the spring as well for some whitewater, but who knows? Hopefully it'll still happen. It's up in the air. Yeah. I mean, they've got a young child too. We don't want to necessarily bring anything down with us too, potentially. So we'll play it by ear. We'll be safe, and hopefully we get on the water.
Yeah. And that's the toughest part right now is the uncertainty, especially for people like us and probably 99% of the people in the chat here, is like the uncertainty of what's going to happen with this season, right? Are we going to end up under total lockdown? Or are we going to have to,
Yeah, like we're
what?
We're trying we're trying to buy a house right now, and like it's just like should we not? Are the market's gonna crash? Is the end coming? Like but you just don't know. It's very uncertain right now.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say too with Leah, when you're saying type 2 fun, like that's every day with the Bairds. Like, they find like very difficult things to do and make it fun.
It is fun though.
Yeah, but the first time with them, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
This is like the trip that we did with them for the pond hockey thing. It's like, what are we doing? This is ridiculous.
That's literally what we live for, though, too.
Yeah,
Like
I
Leah's
love
like,
it.
she's like, this trip wasn't hard enough. Let's do it harder. I'm like, well, like, I don't like. What do you want me to do? Just make us bushwhack for days? And
Like, I'll often tell Brad, like, I want to do a trip that involves seeing all these things, and I want it to be type 2 for about 90%, and then he'll just plan the rest of it for me.
Requirement.
So
It's true. It is awesome when you go through something and then you're like, okay, I did that. Like when we did that trek with the bear, it's like nobody got it on video, so nobody will ever know like how truly incredibly difficult it was. But like I remember thinking when that was over, like, okay, we can have fun for the rest of the weekend because we just did our hard part. And anything we do from now on, like I kept saying during that 5-kilometer trek out in like knee-deep snow, I was like, okay, every canoe trip, every portage is going to be fantastic this summer. It's going to be so
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, after Dirty Bush, every portage, I'm just like,
Everybody drink.
Once you've done the worst, all the rest is the best, right? So
yeah.
we say that until we do what we're gonna do this summer potentially. So there you go.
Hopefully.
Very cool. So I see a question on here that's kind of geared towards Brad and Lee and John and Aaron. Can you touch on some cold water safety?
Yeah.
Who wants to tackle that one?
That's more qualified. We just got wetsuits, and that's for like an insurance policy on Superior in particular. Brad and Lee have been doing this longer than we have, so you guys cover that.
Totally, though. I mean, the main thing is dry suits, especially like on the big lakes where the temperature is like below like 10 degrees. I forget there's it's in Fahrenheit, but there's the 555 rule. I'm gonna butcher what it is, but it's if it's like below 50 degrees, if you're in for 5 minutes or something like that, you get hypothermia pretty quickly. I don't know off the top of my head. All I know is if the water is like below 10 degrees and your air temperature is below like 10 degrees, we usually don dry suits no matter what, even if it's a calm day. When we start getting into those like shoulder days where it's like 18 degrees but the water's cold but it's a calm day, we won't do the dry suit sort of thing. But we play it fairly safe as well too. Take extra precautions. In terms of layering and stuff too, it really depends upon the cold, like the air temperature. So if you're going to wear like a wool, like a merino midweight layer underneath the dry suit, and then the dry suit over top on a hot day, like on the Nagagami, we portage in our dry suit. I literally had 2 liters of sweat inside my dry suit at the end. So not a good idea. But in that being said too, like when you're going out there and you're itching to get on the river, and there's still snow on the banks, you have to be really, really cautious about ice flows and ice jams. And I mean, it can be really, you're itching to get out on the water. You want to get on the water, but sometimes it's safer just to wait a couple more weeks until the ice opens up, and you got to take a lot of extra precautions with running rivers that time of year too. We do some river running in the spring where the rivers are open, but the lakes are frozen. And in that case, we kind of do the ice canoeing method to get across some of those lakes. Life jacket on, dry suit on, 1 foot in the canoe, and you kind of push like a sled over across the lake. So if you do hit a soft spot, you've got the canoe to hold on to and just shift your weight in there, because if you're just walking beside the canoe willy-nilly and you go through, you're going to go right through sort of thing. And you don't want to tie yourself into that as well, especially with the current, because that's going to be a dangerous situation as well too. And you always want to make sure you have an extraction knife on you in those situations.
And
Hey,
Brad
Brad.
and I, we use level 6 dry suits. I have a full, like a 1-piece one, which is really, really awesome. Brad has a 2-piece. It's not as good, but he's looking at getting a 1-piece. This is the time of year to buy them. They tend to go on sale. Oh, sorry, no, in the fall is the time. Dang. But they usually have some pretty good sales. And like if you watch the Nagagami video, we flipped, and I did not get wet at all.
And the ice had just gone out like a week before. Like there was iceberg still on the lake proper. So the water temperature was probably just a couple degrees above freezing at that point in time.
Yeah,
So.
but life jackets, a knife for extraction, and dry suits.
Hey guys, I'm curious about this. We fought the idea of a dry suit because they're just crazy expensive, and I just envision getting a puncture in them. I envision having 2 pounds of sweat in them. So we went with a wetsuits, just like 3 millimeter neoprene, just to buy us time, not for comfort, but to buy us time. So what I asked on my CCR recently, maybe the more experienced paddlers here, like Martin and Kevin, I can't see the chat, but be curious to see what you guys say. How long could you survive in cold water with just a wetsuit?
So I can't answer one bit of it, not the survival part, but in some of the races where we're going across like glacial streams and stuff like that, and alpine streams, I have a 3 or a 5 mil wetsuit, and it's a shorty. So it's like a Farmer John, so your ankles are free and your arms are free. However, you still go in that water, it takes your breath away. It feels like someone just punched you in the gut, and that's an immersion shock. You don't necessarily get that with the dry suit, but with the wetsuit, you get cold immersion shock, and it literally, like your lungs feel like they're squeezing. You have to calm yourself down in about those, 10 seconds that you get into the water, because it's easy to hyperventilate and then gasp in more water. And that's only when it's like really, really, really cold.
Yeah, like Superior.
Yeah, and that's it. Like you're talking, it depends upon your water temperature and things like that too. I'm talking about like alpine streams and glacial streams, where it's like pretty much 0 degrees. It's not freezing because it's flowing. That's like a gut bill.
Yeah, we got them primarily for Superior. Like that's our main thought is safety on Superior, right? We want to spend more time out there and
when
farther from the coast, and so we're wondering about that, right?
For open water crossings.
Yeah.
When we canoed Superior, when we left Puckasaw Park, they had a sign, a waiver saying that we acknowledged that if we were in the water for more than 10 minutes, that we would suffer from hypothermia and have the potential to die. So that was a little eye-opening. And we actually didn't have our wetsuits for that trip.
No, I had a dry suit.
Brad had a dry suit, but I didn't have mine. So it was a little risky. We haven't had any issues with punctures on our dry suits. And if you get them in the fall, they've got really good deals.
There's patch kits and stuff too, like proper maintenance. The gaskets don't last forever as well. You'll have to redo the gaskets. But it's like the maintenance on it, it's similar to like any other piece of equipment you have, like a tent or whatever like that. Everything's prone to break, but there are ways to fix them. And a lot of the manufacturers as well too, some of the warranties they have on them, you can take it back or they'll do a minor repair on them. Kokatot is really, really good with their warranties on there. I haven't had anything with level 6, but I know the Bairds, for example, they had mice chew their Kokatot suits, but then they sent them back to the Kokatot and they fixed them up for them. So it depends.
Like if the cost is a little bit more, but you get a really awesome warranty out of it, it's worth it. So
yeah. For those of us that would like to know, the difference between a wetsuit and a dry suit is?
Yeah, well, a dry suit keeps you dry. It literally keeps the water out. You are sealed on your arms and your neck, and then you have booties on your feet. Like the entire suit is sealed to your body. A wetsuit allows water to permeate in and out, and then your body heat generates a warm layer between that neoprene layer and the exterior water. So that's how it keeps you warmer. Plus the thickness as well helps to insulate you.
Cool. Careena, Ryan, you guys got dry suits or
No,
there's something for the Christmas list, right?
No, we're not versed in the underwater world.
Underwater world.
How breathable are those suits? Are they fairly breathable, or do you build a sweat in them easily? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm always cold, so I find them very comfortable because they keep me nice and toasty. But as you saw from some of the videos, Brad gets very sweaty.
Yeah, that's portaging like 150 pounds of gear through like a bushwhack. Like that's a little different.
And like he's not in anything else other than like his boxers in those things. And I have a couple layers, and I'm like, oh, this is so great. Like even with me, what I'm portaging, but Brad like dies. So it depends on what your body can handle.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because I always wondered that how breathable, if they hold the water out, that means they got to hold the water in too, right? So, yeah. Now, we got a question here for John, I believe. Have you also been a skilled fisherman, or is that something you've learned over time?
I don't know. I'm not even that creative a fisherman. I just love it a lot, and I do it a lot, so I catch more fish. It's if you put in the time on the water, you learn these things, and then you get more fish. But the biggest tip I could give you for catching more fish on trips, bar none, is to troll. Get yourself, get a trolling mount that attaches onto your gunnels. Just message me on Facebook if you want info on that. There's a Scotty one that I love. It's made in Canada. It's not the cheapest for plastic, but well worth it. I've smashed into trees so many times, and it's withstood it. It mounts onto your gunnel, so you can take it on and off very, very easily, just with like a little spinning clamp. And then you just troll the whole trip. You'll catch way more fish.
Dude, that's literally how I slammed walleye in St. Raph. Just like would troll in like, bam, walleye on, whatever. Like it was fantastic.
And it breaks up the monotony of a long paddle too, which is beautiful.
Yeah. It depends how fast you're going and stuff too. Like some old cruddy line I've had in the past just gets like spooled and just destroyed when it's out there and you're like crushing with a tailwind. But you're right. Most times, like it's fantastic.
Yep.
Now,
I would love to do, especially with this group, if we ever did a trip together, like a little fishing derby one day if we had a rest day.
Is there a prize for the person who doesn't catch any fish? Because like
Ryan's down with that.
You and me, buddy.
What we don't.
You know what? I've got a trophy I could donate to you guys too for that. Nice little bass trophy.
Or maybe
Either that or goes out in the yard sale.
Yeah.
We should like set up a 39-hour style fishing derby where we don't have to get together as much as I love to, but it's not as easy, right?
Yeah, there's this amazing fishing show called 39 Hours by Uncut Angling. If you want to learn about multi-species angling, there's no better program to watch, and it's so entertaining.
It's really entertaining.
But basically, they compete across different provinces at the same time, and yeah, it's awesome. But we could at least do that.
That'd be fun. Set up some parameters and go on our own, like all do a trip the same weekend.
Yeah.
And then have a fishing derby.
So we're going to like the Northwest, or we're going way up north to win.
You guys are screwed down south.
Yeah.
I'm going to Metro.
Yeah. So Ryan and Careena, you guys said that you went someplace in Algonquin and you were slaying the fish one of the first times. Where was that?
Length Lake.
Length Lake.
It's on the east side of the park.
Ken Bourne had some info on the chat. Yeah, it's like from Stratton to Marie to St. Andrews to Marie to Length Lake. But it's quite a trek. That's probably what there's lots of fishing there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And now, John, you're a mapper, right?
Yeah, I do GIS as my job. Make maps.
And you do similar. No, Brad, you do similar type of work.
In my job, not to the same extent, but like in my own personal endeavors, yeah. I love messing around with GIS all the time. I wish I had more time to do it.
Brad's maps were invaluable to me. People like Brad and Kevin Callan were the people who really got me started on Crown Land, on doing videos, on making maps, the very idea of that, and Jeff's map as well. Those are some of the guys who really got me fired up to do that. So I owe them a big debt of gratitude.
Yeah, and you got a video on that too, do you not? About all the different types of map resources that you can utilize for finding Crown Land and planning trips.
We do.
Yeah, I've got one, and I went Pine Martin's as well, of course. Before I even got into Crown Land camping, I watched his. So that's the godfather of the Crown Land camping videos. But yeah, I've got one too.
Yeah,
Just,
I think
you know,
we're gonna have to get Martin back on the show again one day just to go over that, especially with the paddling season looming.
people
Looming
think Crown
down.
Land is like it's so hard to find. I mean, like it's not too difficult once you figure out the first. Once you do it once, it's dead simple. Like there's so many resources out there, but it takes a little more effort than just showing up to a gate and at a park and then launching your canoe and going down, Joe Lake or whatever like that. But once you get over that hurdle, it's not that tricky at all. And like we do 99.2% of all our trips are Crown Land or non-operational parks, and it's fantastic. We barely run into people. Like we're saying to Leah, like to share a lake, even if the lake's like 20 kilometers or 30 kilometers long, to share a lake with another party seems like such a foreign concept to us these days now.
I know, right?
And, Careena and Ryan earlier were saying how it's harder to do it when you're down south and you just don't know if you're going to run into a complete roadblock. When you live like in the north like we do, I mean, Leah's in Sudbury, Brad Timmons, us in Marathon, you can go and dabble, and an access point might be 20 minutes from your house.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to do it that way when you're in it.
Yeah.
North of Sudbury, it's like all Crown Land.
It's
That's
amazing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, growing up in Toronto, I had no idea until, like I said, I started looking at Brad and Kevin's stuff. I was like, I had no idea. I always thought I could go to a provincial park and camp there, but no,
Rub it
once
in.
it's north of Sudbury, it's not on top.
You guys have Crown Land out in the Eastern Ontario too. There's actually a lot of decent stuff out there. And I had my sights on a ton of routes out there when I was in Peterborough at Trent, and you guys got a decent amount of stuff out near your way.
Also, you can always contact the local park superintendent in non-operational parks as well. And then you can talk to them about exploring some of the non-operational parks. And then they usually will negotiate, they'll waive fees if you're willing to share information or take pictures on sites and things like that. So that's always an option too. And they're really, really friendly. Like the Ontario Parks people are just happy to have people out there. So that's always an option too. And it's good to have a relationship with the local Ontario Park staff.
Yep. For anybody in the chat that is actually looking for some really cool map stuff and canoe routes, check out Explore the Backcountry. His website. He's got a wealth of information on there. There's just so much that you can actually see and do on your website.
I got updated.
Email, Brad.
Yeah, but people don't know that. You know that. People don't know that, right?
Yeah. And if you haven't done a lot of Crown Land camping before, buy Kevin Callan's Ontario's Lost Canoe Routes. Yep. That book is worth its weight in gold. I mean that literally. That the routes in that book are just some of my favorites. Mm-hmm. Kevin, I also owe you a whiskey fireside chat. Let's do that. But yeah, that book is just outstanding. I just love it. It has Steel River, Dunlop Lake Loop, Ranger Lake Loop, so many just beauties.
We did one last year. We did the Onaping one last year too.
It wasn't in Kevin's book.
Is that
no?
Oh man. Well, never mind. But we have done them from that book, and they're great.
Yeah. Ryan, what's with the beet juice or the bean juice?
That's totally okay.
This is what I live with.
So a guy I work with gets pickled beans, and from the local store down the road, whatever.
They are delicious.
But then I just got these at Walmart, and I've been just eating. I bought all the ones they had at Walmart. There's only 2 left, so I
went through a pickled bean phase too a couple years ago, and I wake up in the morning and want a pickled bean.
They're so good.
I'm currently on a pickled egg phase, which is
So I ran out of beans, so I cut up carrots and put them in the juice. Let it sit for 2 days, and the carrots are starting to pickle themselves.
We're pretty weird.
Yeah.
That sounds weird. That sounds awesome.
Careena, they sell that stuff for a reason,
Yeah.
It just smells like a vinegar bottle. She just consumes vinegar in quantities vats.
Yesterday I had my apples in vinegar. That's how much I love vinegar.
This is why we all get along so well. We're all here together.
Okay, so I got a question. This is a question for all 6 of you. Okay, you're in a bar. Somebody offers to buy you a drink. What's your favorite drink? What, Careena?
Oh, just beer. I'm a beer girl.
Yeah. Okay, Ryan.
If they're paying, probably a high-end beer that I can't pronounce.
How about you, John?
I go Lagavulin Scotch.
Scotch,
they're booming.
Scotch guy.
I knew that.
So you fit in really well with Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that whiskey fireside. Aaron?
Yeah, you got it.
Either a like good local craft beer or a gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic, yeah. Leah?
I love my red wine, but I also love beer, but definitely red wine.
All right. All right. And Bradley.
Really,
Brad. Oh, I better not call him Brad.
it works too. That's my legal name. No, I'm a really big fan of like aged amber rum. Really big fan of that, or a like a 15-year would be mint, or even just a local craft beer.
Yep. Cool. I'm a crafty guy too. I like my craft beer, my bourbons. So there you go, people in the chat. If you ever see any of these lovely people anywhere in a bar, now you know what they drink. You can
Bean juice.
or a bottle of bean juice.
God,
What's that
like,
one, John?
for you.
Mine's off.
Oh, I thought I saw some unibrow, the label over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Also, it's called Left Hand.
Yes, OG in the canoe. Yes, it's
Left
French.
Hand.
Isn't it like 20%?
Only 9.
This is nice.
Yeah.
Anybody in the chat has any questions for anybody on panel, feel free to pipe in. Just put letter Q before the question, and we'll get that up there for sure.
Dennis,
Yeah.
what's your drink?
Who, me?
Yeah.
What do I
You
drink?
do
No, I'm a
something
craft
too.
guy. I love craft beers.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of oh God, now I'm gonna have a brain fart. Great time. My favorite craft beer is called Pompous Ass.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everybody's had a Pompous Ass, and that's Great Lakes Brewery, right? Is it Great Lakes? And they've got a over here. This is probably one of my favorites for bourbons. I like the Devil's Cut or the Noob Creek.
Bourbon, eh?
Yeah, and that's my poison tonight. A little bit of bourbon, and yeah.
Martin has a good question. Martin. That guy.
Oh, Matt.
Yeah.
Whoop, wrong one. One up. Whoop. There we go.
Yes.
That one. There we go. It's a great debate.
So for us, the Outdoor Adventure Show where we met you, Dennis, we saw Brad and Leah there too. They had some good speeches. It was sponsored by Spot Device, so we approached them and they were super willing to work with us. So they actually just sent us the latest device with texting back and
Spot
forth.
X.
Yeah, the Spot X. And we're super excited to use that because there's been some scenarios where an emergency has coming up
For family.
for family issues, and there has been service, but we thought if there ever wasn't service, like in the middle of Algonquin or like where we were in Sudbury, I think there was service, but if you went farther,
It's pretty spotty, yeah.
there wouldn't be. The situations where our family is very important, and we have to. We would like to know if there is an emergency.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would not use like a two-way device. If family wasn't an issue, only an SOS button I think is all I would go for because we go out there to disconnect, right? So
Yeah, personally, I'm a fan. I enjoy my technology out there. Not that I'm using it, but something like a Spot or an InReach, I think they're, you know what, they're worth their weight in gold. You never know what can happen out there. I've been on trips where nothing really tragic has happened, but you know, guy my age, something could start happening out there. You know, somebody has a heart attack out in the field or something, and you never know what can happen, right? John and Eric can attest to stuff like that, right? You had the rollover and stuff like that, and even in that situation, you could have used something like that.
Oh man, yeah, it would have saved so much grief.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I was really lucky. Truck rolled on a forestry road in the winter, and I was okay, but it was a couple hours before anyone came along. So,
3 hours
3
Yeah.
hours. So
in
John
the cold in the winter.
waiting around, you know, and it was 3 hours until anyone came along. There was another couple hours before I was back to service. So it was a full day for John of, you know, waiting for the family and anxiety. So having something that I could have connected would have been really valuable there.
That's when I learned that the PLB is not just for yourself, but for your loved ones, for their peace of mind. Like my mom always worried about me going on solo trips, and rightfully so. She should have. I was a lot more inexperienced than I felt at the time, and I should have had that. So I'm sorry to my mom.
And I'm gonna jump in saying they're fantastic when they work, but when they don't work, it's a nightmare. So we've had the Delorme almost dial 911, and I caught it before it got to like, you know, 0. Like it was screaming in my pack. Somehow the slid over, went through the button menu, and had dialed SOS. But it gives you a 10-second countdown. And I pulled out this like screaming device, and it says 3 seconds left, cancel.
Oh man,
like holy jeez. On the Rio Grande, the Delorme just broke. Like it just kept chiming, and we had to throw it in the bottle of the food barrel and just leave it there. And it chimed for 2 days straight, nonstop. So we like stuffed it in a bunch of socks so we wouldn't like hear it. I've had the old spots where we go on an entire trip and it doesn't send a message out until we're back, and then it sends all the points at once. Like there was a satellite error. And then GPSs, I do not rely on GPSs because I've been in the middle of a bushwhack and I've had like my screen just like implode in pixels. So they're a great tool to have, but knowing how to use a map and compass goes a long way in getting you out of the bush, sort of thing. But you know, bring the spot, bring the PLB. They are prone to fail every now and then, like any piece of technology, but it's a lifesaver when it works.
Yeah, and like for me, I have a satellite phone that I'll keep in my car at all times. It's from work just because of the nature of the work I do. I work in a lot of remote areas, but I've been given permission to have it as well in my car, and it's mostly for the driving to meet Brad on a remote northern road with no service. And if I get lost or something happens, just being a young female out in the woods on these like remote roads can be quite dangerous in and of itself. So that's what I use.
Well, they even called in your car once.
Yep.
Really?
Parked at an access point, and people noticed a car there for a couple of days, and they called it into the OPP.
Called my parents and asked if I was missing. Gave them an ice heart attack. So that was
at least somebody looking out for you.
Yeah, on Highway 11, right by just in the
No. She's just married to a YouTuber. Oh, okay.
Well, now I have to put a sign on my dash being like out canoeing.
Yeah.
Delicio box.
Yeah, please break into my car. Yeah. I like the sign that says "I'm watching you." It makes them think every time, right? Okay, so we got a question here from Tessa that can go right around the whole table. Now, Ryan and Careena, we already kind of touched on this, but we'll touch on it again for those that might have come in late. So, which of your spouses got you into the outdoors, or were you always interested on your own?
So I was the first one interested. I had been interior camping before and really loved it. And so when Ryan and I got married, I was the one who kind of initiated that.
Yeah, I grew up making forts in the woods, but I was a car camper. And then when we got married, we went to Algonquin. And the rest is history.
Cool. We'll go right down below you there. John and Aaron.
We both were into it. I grew up camping, but I hadn't done as much recently. I had a couple other hobbies. I flipped a house and doing some other stuff at the time that we met. So got me back into it. I definitely do a lot more since I'm with John, but it wasn't something new. It was just relating to passion.
Nice. And Brad and Leah?
Brad has been doing camping since he was basically a baby. And I grew up out on like 24 acres of forest, and I used to spend so much time out in the woods that like I never came inside, and that was kind of like what I used to love to do. And then just, in high school I would do like outdoor ed and things like that. But a lot of the people I was friends with and my family weren't into camping, but I always wanted to do it, and I had no one ever to do it with. And that was actually one of the things that initiated our relationship. Was I just was like, oh my God, this guy could take me in the woods. So I kind of went from there, but the spirit was always there, I'd say.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so everybody's kind of got it in our blood. Even Ryan, you say you're only a car camper back then, but you know what? Camping is camping. What? It doesn't always have to be in the backcountry as long as you're getting back to nature, and whether it's on the corridor and in Algonquin Park or interior camping, at least you're out there, right? Still stand the same chance of seeing a moose or a bear out there, right? So,
what about Dennis?
Yeah.
Sorry, what about you, Dennis? What got you into? Sorry, I'm eating.
He's washing down the bean juice.
Yeah. So, what about you, Dennis? What got you into canoe camping?
Me, I kind of got. I was a Boy Scout. I was the Cub Scout when I was a kid, right? Albeit not that long. But I've always been one of those adventurous kids. My parents would always be searching the neighborhood for me, trying to find me because I was always off playing with my friends, and it was, building a fort or off on the bicycle. But it wasn't until I was about, I'd say 18, 19 years old that I really went on my first backcountry canoe trip with a friend of ours that said, "Hey, let's go try this out." And our first canoe trip was like basically rented an aluminum canoe. We brought baseball gloves. We had coolers. We had bottles of water, beer, pop, the whole 9 yards. And we had the portage, all that stuff. So I quickly learned how to really trim down on all that stuff. And it's just been, I don't think I've missed a year since.
Oh, no.
So it's been a good time. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Nice.
Dennis, I feel like you should try and grab Molly because I think Brad and Lee are going to
I don't even know where Molly is.
You started something.
Molly's probably upstairs watching TV with my wife. So.
No.
Their creature, no.
Okay. Oh, we got two cats. Okay, we got dogs on top and cats on the bottom.
Dennis, you're left out now.
Come on, you can't leave
Molly,
Griz.
come here, Molly.
What's up, buddy?
Griz is another doggy.
All I gotta say is one magic word. My dog will be down here.
No, over
Molly,
here.
you want a cookie?
No. Look at the kitties. Look at the
I
kitties.
hear you.
Griz is just like excited about this now.
Say hi, bud.
This is camera shy.
There we go.
She is.
There you go.
Say hi to everybody.
Hey, Molly.
Molly, look.
Say hi. Look at there's Griz.
Okay,
What are the cats' names? She's not very impressed right now. I promised her a cookie, and she wants it.
Trick.
You done? Okay.
High five. High five.
All warm, so she was most likely sleeping. But you just got to say the cookie word, and she's like, "Shot out of hell."
Griz is adventure.
So what's the cat's name?
This one's Toothless. She had teeth, but they named her after the dragon at the shelter.
Okay.
And ours is $5 footlong because he's was the fattest stray that they ever found, and they thought he needed to go on the Subway diet. So we call him Mr. Five.
He's trimmed up now, though.
$5 foot long. I like that. That's cool. Oh, geez. So what do we got going on in chat here? I totally lost exactly what we're looking at there.
There was one question back from a really nice supporter of ours on our channel. Cook fly can't fish. It is just a question for Careena, but we can extend it to everybody. How did you learn to cook steak directly on the coals? I'm sure we've all done it, but
I learned from Joe.
okay. John,
I think Joe learned that from me.
oh, okay, so it's just a circle.
Yeah.
What about you, John? Have you cooked steak directly on the coals before?
No, I never have.
No, eh?
Dude, do it.
You know what? It's the best steak you'll ever have if you got a good cut of steak. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's important.
Okay. We'll add it to the list.
I could give a couple of tips on that. Cooking steaks on a direct coal fire works best with hardwood,
Yeah.
Yep.
and you need to have broken up coals.
Yep.
And the redder, the better, because as soon as you drop the meat on it, it sears it instantly.
Yep.
And when you flip it, you'll be lucky if you have even one coal sticks to it. The hotter the coal is, right? And don't leave it on too long because it cooks surprisingly fast.
Yeah.
Very fast.
We bring ours it's usually our first meal, so it's frozen when it comes in. We like our steak like mooing, so because the inside's frozen, the outside sears like really nicely, gets charred, but then the inside just melts. So the inside's like blue steak, but the outside's like perfectly seared because it's just not completely frozen, but just like that defrosting stage.
Yeah.
That's like prime time to throw it on if you want a blue steak.
So
Yeah.
good.
Nice. So anybody in the chat that's never tried that, you definitely got to try it 100%. It'll be, like I say, the best steak you'll probably ever cook.
And you know what? Fish on the coals is really good too. Like if you get like a trout and just throw her on the coals, like it has to be really like really light, but it's nice. It works too with a good skin on it.
That there I've not tried.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Yeah.
And Ethan now he's his mouth is watering over there, so he wants to steak so bad now. Yeah. You know what? Maybe we'll have to organize a big YouTuber get together in the summertime and
Barbecue.
barbecues at home, man. Bring the hardwood. That's all.
Bring the hardwood.
That's
We
the
don't have
problem with living up north, though, is we don't have a lot of that hardwood. Like
I'm not going to grill on poplar.
oh my god! If you want to have the worst steak of your life, you'll cook it on poplar.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll all meet up in Sudbury again. We'll just stock up the Tacoma with maples
There you
and whatever, oaks and whatnot. We'll
Hickory, bring some hickory.
Yes, hickory.
Yes.
Whatever you want, we got it here. Ironwoods. What's the name? Hoppus hornbeam.
Hop hornbeam.
Yeah. That.
Lots of that
We
here.
got that. We'll bring it up in the Tacoma. You guys bring the steaks.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Very unfair, but
So Matthew Hans wanting to know what's everyone's go-to first night meal.
Do we have a go-to? It's right.
Steak.
Really, the steak?
Burgers.
Yeah.
And we
We usually do like
It's meat.
It's like a fresh meat. Like we'll do steak or we'll do burgers or something like that. And we usually get the like the salads that you can mix on your own, and then we just mix them in the bag so it doesn't make as much dishes. And
Yep.
then-
Smart.
Yeah, those things are awesome.
Yeah.
Salads in a bag.
potato.
But you got to eat them in the first couple of days or they start to ferment.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's why we bring cabbage, because cabbage will last like 3-4 weeks. So we just throw a cabbage, like a head
Like
of
a
cabbage
whole
in the
head.
food barrel, and it'll last. So you can make wraps on like day 30, and you're like, still good.
Day 30.
Oh man, food barrels is another topic in itself. I don't know how
Oh yeah.
to do food barrels.
You know,
Why?
I don't usually do steak on the first night for the reason that if you traveled all night, you've been up paddling all day, I want to cook my steak and I want to be able to savor it, not be falling asleep while I'm eating it. Right. So usually first night will be like, we'll bring like a Italian sausage or something like that and throw that on the coals, cook that up. And that's always a great one to have. And then the next night, and by that time, well, you like your cows mooing, Brad, so that's cool. But I'm a nice medium rare type of guy, right? So it's thawed out, throw that on the fire the next night, and you can enjoy it that much more. We've even had our steak like 3-4 days into a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fresh meat. Like we'll sometimes like day 3 is when we deplete our fresh meat. Depends on the type of meat and what the cut it is and stuff. But that's our max usually.
Yeah.
And then it's
That's
all
really
the
good.
dehydrated or whatever.
We just made chicken skewers over the hot stove this weekend, the wood stove, sorry, in the hot tent. And we bit into a piece and we both swallowed some and it was still quite raw. But we're at 72 hours now. We haven't got sick. So
We're just sitting
Nice.
doing now. So
I think we're in the clear, but we
But
don't
they-
mess with meat. It's scary.
yeah.
My buddy made like this African meat thing. This is ridiculous. He made this African meat thing in his basement where he like kind of like dry smoked it, but he had this like older place that he was renovating in Peterborough, and like the musty basement hadn't been like fully cleaned yet. So he pulls out this like awesome looking cut of like, cold dry smoked meat where he had it under like some like UV light or something like that. I forget. There's some certain method. It's some Argentinian thing he picked up.
Voodoo.
Anyways,
Strange.
it tasted like friggin' basement mold, dude. It was so bad. And he like was oh, okay, more for me. And like me and my buddy are like, I'm surprised he wasn't like, in the bathroom the entire trip eating this nonsense. It tasted like dirty old shoes. Horrible.
Gross.
Wow.
Hilarious.
That's Carl.
Yeah. It was.
So
Hey,
this,
Carl.
this delinquent here, Fear the 277, I could call him that. It's my son-in-law. If you had to pick one thing to eat for the rest of the time, what would it be? I know with him it'd be chicken fingers, but well, we'll put a twist on that. Favorite camping meal besides the steak? I know we talk steak. That's out of the way. That's fresh meat. But
I know what John and Aaron's are. It's like calzones for sure.
No,
That's up there for sure with the dessert of Doritos.
That was us.
yeah. Doritos.
yeah, you like your Doritos.
On an air.
No, we brought the calzones, and I was just gonna say it's probably gonna be some sort of pizza product. Just any pizza derivative, calzone, panzerotti, deep dish, whatever. It's so
Mine
style.
for both camping favorite meal and end of time all you can eat meal is oatmeal. I love oatmeal.
I'm an oatmeal guy too. I love oatmeal.
Steel cut. They got to be steel
Yeah,
cut.
Steel cut, little brown sugar, some blueberries in there, or dried bananas.
Cinnamon, blueberries, yeah.
Wild blueberries, cinnamon, brown sugar, some milk. It's a whole
Syrup.
thing.
Yep.
We make like on weekends. John will make usually eggs and stuff, and it's good. But by Monday, I'm like, let's get back into the oats.
Yeah.
Caloric intake is from oatmeal.
Yeah, it's my favorite, and I've been
think-
doing it daily since I was a kid, and I think I could. I love it. If I don't have it for a couple of days, I want them.
I remember you and Careena talking about that on the camping trip when we were all talking about food. And I was like, oh, oatmeal every breakfast, like every day for like 14 days. Canoeing is like fine after a while. But and you guys are just like, and you, Aaron, were like, no, there's like a way to make the oatmeal and it's just so good. I could eat it for 3 meals a day, Leah. And like, you're so
Yeah, it's a passion. It's a thing.
Yeah, I'm all about the ease of oatmeal for sure.
It's got to be the real oatmeal though. It can't be that little Quaker oats in a brown package. Like they've gone and found a way to ruin oatmeal, right?
Yo, no, we throw stuff in that. That's Staples. It's ready in 5 seconds, man.
That's a good staple to have at the bottom of your barrel, but no, you gotta go steel cut.
It's funny because people on my channel are like, oh, you need to do more cooking. And it's like, I suck at cooking. I hate cooking. If I can get it over as fast as I possibly can, I will. So putting like the hot water in the bag of oatmeal and just eating it right out of the bag, that's my thing. I'm all about
We love to cook. Like we love to take our time cooking. Like that's our end of the day reward is cooking. Doesn't matter what it is.
honestly, it's the only thing that motivates me. So
That's
You're
like
on a hard portage or like the water, and I'm like, what are you thinking about? What we're gonna have for dinner? What should it be? Should it be the stew or the pasta or the mac and cheese? I'm like, okay.
I swear I don't actually sound like that, but
Pretty close.
Opposite.
Oh, geez.
Like, what do you think? I'm like
going to bed without dinner.
skipping dinner.
Yeah.
Like, all I want to do is not eat dinner and sleep, and then wake up and eat my oatmeal.
The steel cut oats, you got to cook them al dente. So
Yeah, they do have to be
the
all
bag says to do a 4-to-1 ratio of water to steel cut oats. 2-to-1. As soon as the water is absorbed, you'll have nice al dente steel cut oats.
3 to 1.
Aaron, have you ever had a fried oatmeal cookie?
No, I don't think so.
Make your oatmeal, make it really thick,
Yeah.
and then flatten it on a pan like a pancake.
Okay.
Not a lot of oil though. You don't want it to fall apart. You try it.
Yo, actually,
Maybe I'll do a video on that there.
Dennis, that reminds me when I was a Y camper, we used to fry oatmeal up and we'd put a bunch of so we'd fry it up in the pan like the oats, and then we put in like chocolate chips and coconut and all those other things, and you would just eat handfuls of this. That is oatmeal I can get on board with for days. Anything fried anyway. So I mean, come on.
I've never tried oatmeal. It's a game
It's
changer.
good. It's good. I made it for you before. 6 years ago.
For us, our kind of favorite thing that we just kind of discovered was like our own backcountry shepherd's pie.
Well, actually, we learned it from John. One of John's videos.
Oh,
Your
yes.
guys'
I learned it from Brad, but it gives us the worst parts.
Yeah,
And Brad learned
We
it
don't
from
make
Dennis.
it anymore.
we've cut it.
It's cut.
Even sleeping in separate hammocks, we can.
No, we need your recipe.
Yeah.
Brad's is doing us bad.
It's so good.
It is, but
Okay,
It's-
to be fair though, we don't really follow a recipe. I just kind of do make do with whatever I have. Because again, I'm not a good cook. I'm sure Ryan would love for me to have more cooking skills and not bushcraft skills. But
You want your tank content to be high because when you dehydrate it, you lose a lot of that.
yeah,
Maybe Brad should do a video on how we dehydrate all our food.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Making work projects. You know how long it takes me to edit a regular video.
I know, but we're on
We got
quarantine,
enough.
so
We're on quarantine.
Brad, if we do it now, we'll see it probably in a year and a half. Looking
Yeah,
forward.
yeah. Actually, I'm doing better with this isolation thing. I'm shaving off like an hour of commuting every day, so that's an hour more video time.
Well, you could shoot the video now, and then you could show it in a year and a half, and you could say, "This is what it looks like now," right? Yeah.
True, it'll last forever. I mean, like
Is it?
even going up to this whole thing, we were just dehydrating meals for the summer already. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've been working on that slow too. Does everybody here dehydrate their own foods for trips?
Yep.
we just
Sure.
got started last year. John just got his dehydrator and started, but it's great.
oh, they're fantastic.
It's a no-brainer.
It
Like,
pays.
it pays for itself.
pays for itself in the first trip and a half.
Yeah.
2 trips.
Yeah, and
Okay,
I think last week on the show we had Ethan on, and we were talking about that too. And it's just, it's so nice. You could eat what you want to eat, right? Everybody's responsible for their own meal, and you eat what you want to eat, and you're responsible for how it tastes because you made it. So,
Ethan wants us to stop talking about food.
sorry, dude. Gee, I'm still back before basement mold. In the chat here. Oh, there's some good questions back there. Let's see here. And of course, now I'm scrolling through. Question 2. Anybody doing a collab with Scrambled Dough? Anybody know Scrambled Dough?
Kareena's actually in a lot of contact
Yeah.
with Martin.
I talk with Martin a lot. He's a really, really cool guy.
He's in America.
This is genuine. Like, oh yeah, there's the American.
Yeah.
Other American YouTuber.
The other American YouTuber we want to go camping with, Scrambled O.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Ethan.
It'd be an interesting weekend, right? For sure.
Yeah. No, he's a cool guy. If we didn't live so far away, yeah.
He just reposted a video. It's been a while since he's had stuff out.
Yeah. He took quite a break for a while and then started uploading recently. But yeah.
Yeah. And let's see here from same fellow there. He's asking pack boat or canoe.
This is my buddy. I know this guy. Well, we don't know anything but a canoe, but we're in conversation with Swift. We'd like to try either pack boats or solo boats this year. So that'll be exciting.
And what canoe are you using now? You got a Swift what?
We have the Swift. We used to have the Kippewa. Now we have the Keewaydin 16.
Okay.
What? I don't know what happened at the trade show. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I wasn't going to mention this, but Swift took us on as ambassadors. So
Awesome.
Are you guys getting any new canoes as a result?
no. But what they will do, basically, we're gonna try out some other canoes and stuff. So that'll be really fun. Try out some different styles and stuff. I really, really want to do, like, I've always had this thing that I want to be able to have one pack and one boat and just go. So obviously, like, it'd be nice to have Ryan along with me, but like basically simulate a solo trip for myself and be able to do it. But yeah, I'm excited.
Single carry or double?
Single.
Always single.
Oh, I'm not.
All the time.
And-
This is-
It's like smacking John. See, they do it. Why can't we?
Okay,
Smack him.
I can go on a rant right now. I don't understand how people double carry. First of all, second of all, I don't understand the food barrel thing. I feel frustrated when I can't fit my food bag inside my main pack.
You need tri bags, my dear.
What?
You need tri bags. They're a game changer. Holy hell! Like they're triangular shaped bags with a curvature, and they go in the bottom of it, and we label basically lunch, dinner, breakfast, and you just pull the bag out, and
the food
everything's
barrel,
there.
right?
Yeah, Careena doesn't like food barrels.
I don't like
Done that last week.
If you do serious like river tripping and stuff too, like when you flip that thing,
Yeah, I can see
you
that.
have no issues with it.
Yeah.
It's a little different, and it provides a little more protection from critters getting in. It's not bear proof, but it provides a little more protection than like a pack, unless you're using a year sack, and those are like they're Kevlar or something like that, or bulletproof vest bag. Yeah.
And then there's some sort of polyethylene. I was actually researching them last night. They're pretty amazing bags, right? But yeah.
But there's storage capacity on them too. Like you can't get massive Ursacks, and they add weight and stuff too. So
they just come up with a 2XL.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I think the 20 or the 15 liter was the biggest, and I think the 2XL is something like a 30-liter bag.
See, but like a 60-liter food barrel for us can survive. We can pack that efficiently for 3 weeks if we do it smart, and if we do it with the tri bags, it's like bingo, bango, done. Like you know what to grab. It's simple. You don't have to dig around.
How are those tri bags at keeping fuel out of your food?
Ha! Well, we now have an external bag for that.
We learned our lesson.
Oh gosh.
They do feel you, Careena. Like I have that, and when we go out, I'm sorry, cat tail. I do have that urge to have just like a pack and a boat and be lighter. Like I feel in winter, I think I'm feeling it more now because in winter we're a lot heavier with the hot tents heavy, and we have the fishing gear and the auger and the fish finder, and it's like a lot where it has me craving that like just lightweight, get up and go kind of thing. But I'm in the process of planning my first solo trip for this summer, so I'm really looking forward to that. Just going out but I'll be double carry, I presume. My food barrel's coming with me.
Don't do it.
I got my Garmin so I can track my steps. So, gotta get them steps in.
Well,
interesting question. You're all tandem paddlers. You all like to paddle like 2 up in a canoe, right? Anybody considered maybe going 2 solo boats? Yeah. Okay.
It's okay. Kevin's gone. We can talk about.
Yeah. I think Kevin ducked out.
I'm kind of stubborn though. I'd like to try an actual solo boat rather than just a pack boat. Kind of like the system that Sean James has, and I really like that he usually single blades it too. I would love to try that, just because I'm stubborn. And
then you'd have to get the Swift boat with the 2 up seat, right?
Yeah.
You can adjust the seat up. Yeah.
I paddle solo. I've paddled with a double blade. I paddled with a single blade. But to be honest, paddling tandem, we're so much more efficient and faster. The only time is if I'm solo, because I race with a double blade. If I'm racing, I can sustain with a double blade solo probably 10 to 12 kilometers an hour. But with the 2 of us, we'll hit 6, 7, 8 kilometers an hour tandem and just crush. And it makes no sense for us to go in 2 solo boats like with. Right.
Because most of the trips we do are like long distances, so we'll go like 180K over 3 days or whatever. And a little bit less than that, but it feels like 180.
That's more of a race.
But like I don't know, we can go pretty fast, just the 2 of us. And then if the weather gets really bad, usually our like emergency blade we pack is a double blade in case for like Brad to use the double.
Sometimes it depends on the trip. For big water, like lake travel, I'll bring it. Like if we do Superior or Huron, I'll bring a double as a backup. But usually it'll be a carbon bench shaft and then an all-purpose whitewater straight edge, because the whitewater straight edge you can do for creek travel and stuff. And then when we want to like whip out and up our speed by like 2-3 kilometers an hour, we get the carbon bench shafts out and then we start to fly. But it's a different paddling technique too, using the bench shafts. So,
do you normally use the bench shaft, like if you are just on an average scenario?
Flat water stuff, yes, for sure. If I'm solo, no, because it's not as versatile in terms of like steering maneuvers. But like if it's tandem like this, yeah, I'll bust out the bench shaft on a regular trip, unless it's like a lot of creek travel and stuff, because you just do not have like the thing weighs like it's like air, weighs next to nothing, and it's not that durable, especially the carbon ones. We have wooden ones, but I'm like, yeah, it's not as good.
Well, you know what, guys? We're way past overtime here now. We've got 20 after 9 my time here anyways. I think we're going to pack the show in. I'm just going to get some closing statements in. If you 3 couples don't go anywhere until after I've closed out the show there and get you in the green room there. We'll have a little chat afterwards when we're done there. So everybody in the chat, thanks very much for joining us tonight. It was a really fun night. Some great guests on here by all means. Hopefully y'all got to know Ryan and Careena a little bit better. Don't forget to check out Alexis Outdoors on YouTube. If you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button for them and hit their bell notification because Kareena's got videos coming out all the time. You can also find all the information for her website, Facebook, Instagram. All that stuff is in the description below. Make sure you go and smash the crap out of that too. What else we got here? If you haven't already done so, please do hit that subscribe button for Canoehound Adventures as well. We have this show every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. We always have interesting people or topics on here to discuss. And it's a great night, especially now with all that's going on with this stuff. I don't even want to say it. I'm sick of hearing it. So if we could take your mind off of it for a couple of hours, a little bit of enjoyment, that's what we're here to do. And get everybody a little more educated as to what we can all do in the outdoors to enjoy it. Special thanks, Careena, Ryan, thanks very much for coming on the show. You guys are great guests. Really enjoyed meeting you at the Outdoor Adventure Show and especially having a chit chat with you tonight. That was awesome.
Thanks so much for having us. It's been really awesome. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks. And then John and Aaron and Brad and Leah, thanks very much for popping on panel. I know it was kind of short notice. I appreciate you guys making the time to come on and see your good friends up there. Hopefully you guys get another collab going this summer.
No.
Okay, I'll even do that. Oh, an old guy. Look, I even screwed that up. Where are we here? Also, don't forget to check me out on not me out, but check out my Facebook page. You'll be able to see who we actually have coming on in the coming weeks. Next week, I still haven't locked down my guests, so you'll want to follow me on Facebook just to find out who we do have on. In 2 weeks' time, we have Jerry VanDiver coming on the show. We'll be doing a little bit of singing and guitar playing. I'm sure that'll happen there. And then in 3 weeks' time, we actually have Bill Swift coming on. We'll be talking about not only Swift canoes, but talking about Bill Swift Sr. So if anybody wants to know a bit of the history of the Swift family and, you know, a lot of deep roots into Algonquin Park, you'll want to tune in for that one as well. So in the meantime, everybody stay safe. Everybody stay healthy. Follow what your government's saying there to keep you safe and healthy. Let's try and kick the shit out of this COVID-19 stuff. Let's get rid of it. Please stay healthy. I want to see you all here next week and all the weeks after. So that's all good stuff. In the meantime, I'm Dennis, Canoehound Adventures. Remember, people, keep the adventures alive. Have a great night. God bless everybody.
Thanks, Dennis.
Take care,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.